The afternoon sun shone brightly over UA High School, casting long shadows across Training Ground Beta. Concrete structures stood half destroyed from previous exercises, and the air buzzed with competitive energy. Class 1A was in the middle of a full-scale combat simulation. "Remember!" shouted Shota Aizawa, lounging lazily in his capture weapon atop a broken pillar. "Adapt to unpredictable threats." On the field below, Izuku Midoriya darted between obstacles, green lightning flickering faintly around his body. Across from him, Katsuki Bakugo propelled himself through the air with explosive blasts, smoke trailing behind him like a missile. "You're hesitating again, Deku!" Bakugo roared, launching another detonation that shattered a concrete wall. Midoriya skidded backward, analyzing rapidly. Bakugo's right-hand ignition timing has shortened by 0.3 seconds. Since last week, his mobility has increased. Before Midoriya could counter, something changed. The wind shifted. It wasn't a natural gust. It was sudden, concentrated, like pressure building in the atmosphere. The sky above the training ground rippled as if struck by invisible lightning. Students paused. A low hum vibrated through the air. "What's that?" Ochako Uraraka whispered, looking upward. The clouds began spiraling inward toward a single point directly above the field. Blue electricity crackled across the forming vortex. Aizawa's tired eyes sharpened instantly. "That's not a quirk manifestation." Boom! The vortex tore open into a glowing ring of chaotic energy. The force of it slammed downward, flattening trees and sending debris flying. Bakugo steadied himself mid-air. Another villain stunt? Midoriya shielded his face as wind howled violently. Sensors embedded around the training ground began malfunctioning, sparks bursting from control panels. Then, something shot out of the portal. It wasn't falling. It was moving with intention. A streak of blue light pierced the sky and slammed into the ground with explosive speed. Dust and smoke erupted outward in a perfect circular shockwave. When the smoke cleared, a small blue figure stood casually in the center of a cracked crater. He tapped his red shoe impatiently against the rubble. "Okay," the figure said, brushing dust off his gloves. "That landing could have been smoother." The class stared. Standing before them was Sonic the Hedgehog. Cobalt quills swept back, emerald eyes scanning the unfamiliar skyline. Sonic blinked at the tall buildings of UA, then at the students in hero costumes. "This isn't Green Hill." Bakugo wasted no time. "Who are you?" he shouted, blasting forward in a fiery explosion. In less than a blink, Sonic vanished. Bakugo's blast hit nothing but air. The explosion cleared, and Sonic was suddenly standing behind him, arms folded. "Whoa, temper much." Bakugo spun around, launching another explosion at the point-blank range. Again, nothing. Sonic reappeared atop a broken wall, grinning. "You gotta be faster than that." Midoriya's heart pounded. I didn't even see him move. There was no build-up, no muscle tension, no activation signal. "State your identity," Aizawa demanded, capture scarf snapping forward toward Sonic's position. Sonic tilted his head as the scarf wrapped around empty space. "Name's Sonic," he said casually, now standing beside Aizawa instead. Aizawa's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't seen him cross the distance. "Quirk?" Aizawa asked sharply, activating erasure. Sonic blinked. "You staring at me on purpose?" Nothing happened. Aizawa maintained eye contact. Still nothing. Midoriya gasped softly. "His quirk isn't being erased." Bakugo growled. "So he's some kind of speed-type mutant?" Sonic scratched his head. "Quirk. You guys keep saying that word." Before anyone could respond, the ground beneath them trembled violently. Deep underground, metal screeched against stone. Warning sirens suddenly blared across campus. Unidentified mechanical entity detected, a robotic voice announced over the intercom. The concrete training field split apart as something massive erupted upward. A towering metallic serpent burst from beneath the surface, its segmented body gleaming with dark steel and glowing veins of pulsating green energy. Its eyes burned crimson as it roared electronically. Students stumbled backward. "That's not part of the exercise," Uraraka shouted. Midoriya's analytical mind kicked into overdrive. Mechanical design, advanced propulsion joints, energy core emitting unknown radiation. Sonic's expression changed. His casual grin faded. "That glow," he muttered quietly. The serpent's body shimmered with a very specific frequency of power. Chaotic, unstable, unmistakable. That's chaos energy. The machine locked onto Sonic instantly, its eyes narrowing. Without warning, it fired a concentrated laser beam directly at him. Midoriya shouted, "Move!" But Sonic was already gone. The laser sliced through empty air. A sonic boom echoed across the field as blue lightning streaked around the serpent's body in spiraling loops. Sonic's voice echoed in a blur of motion. "All right, Metal Snake. Let's see how fast you can slither." The mechanical serpent shrieked as blue streaks spiraled around its steel body. Sonic's movement wasn't just speed. It was pressure. The air itself bent around him, forming a tightening vortex. Students could barely track him. Midoriya's eyes strained. He's circling it. No. He's accelerating with each rotation. He's building kinetic force through repeated momentum, stacking. The serpent attempted to compensate. Its body split into multiple rotating segments, each spinning independently. Missile pods opened along its sides. "Multiple projectile launch detected," shouted Tenya Aida, engines flaring on his calves as he dashed civilians in training out of range. Missiles fired in every direction. Sonic vanished upward in a vertical streak, ricocheting off one missile mid-air and using it like a stepping stone. He zipped between explosions, leaving spirals of displaced smoke behind him. "Too slow," he called. Bakugo gritted his teeth. "Shh, don't hog the fight." He blasted himself upward, detonations cracking the air. Todoroki followed, ice pillars erupting beneath him to gain height. The serpent recalibrated. Green energy surged through its body. A pulse wave exploded outward, distorting gravity within a 50-meter radius. Everyone felt it. Midoriya dropped to one knee. The energy output just spiked. Sonic landed briefly on a floating chunk of debris, skidding slightly as gravity fluctuated. Okay, that's new. The serpent's eyes glowed brighter, and its body began shifting configurations, parts rearranging, adapting. Its tail extended into a bladed drill spinning at terrifying velocity. Then it targeted the students. The drill launched toward Class 1A. Midoriya reacted instantly. "One for all! Full cowling!" Green lightning burst across his limbs as he leapt forward to intercept. But before he could reach it, a shockwave of wind blasted past him. Sonic intercepted the drill mid-flight, bracing both hands against it. His shoes screeched against the air itself as he pushed back against the spinning force. For the first time since arriving, his feet left faint burn marks across the ground. The drill's rotation intensified. Sonic's eyes narrowed. "All right, you want to push?" He leaned forward. The ground beneath him shattered as he accelerated while holding the drill in place. In seconds, he began running against its spin, matching and exceeding its rotation speed. A high-pitched whine filled the air. The drill overheated. Then, crack. It shattered into molten fragments. The students stared in disbelief. Midoriya whispered. He overpowered it with rotational acceleration. But the serpent wasn't done. Its central core opened, revealing a pulsating emerald reactor. Raw chaos energy spiraling inside. Sonic's expression hardened. Yeah, that's definitely Eggman tech. Eggman? Midoriya asked breathlessly. Before Sonic could answer, the serpent emitted a blinding beam skyward. The portal above flickered violently in response, expanding slightly. Aizawa's voice cut through the chaos. That machine is stabilizing the portal. Sonic's gaze snapped upward. So that's the game. The serpent lunged again, faster now, its speed nearly doubling. For the first time, the students could actually see Sonic being pushed back, not defeated, but challenged. The machine predicted his path, firing intercept lasers at angles that forced him to adjust. Midoriya's mind raced. It's learning, adapting to his velocity patterns. Bakugo! Midoriya shouted. Force it to divide its processing focus. Bakugo smirked. Ha! Finally! He launched a barrage of explosions directly at the serpent's upper segments. Todoroki followed with alternating blasts of fire and ice, creating rapid temperature shifts along its armor. The serpent faltered. Just slightly. That was enough. Sonic grinned. Thanks for the opening. He crouched low. Blue energy began gathering around him, brighter than before. Lightning-like streaks traced across the ground in expanding circles. The air pressure dropped. Midoriya felt his skin prickle. This level of kinetic buildup must... If he releases that all at once... Sonic shot forward. But this time it wasn't just a blur. It was a straight-line shockwave. He pierced through the serpent's body, drilling through 3 segments in an instant before ricocheting off a nearby building and slamming back through its central core. The emerald reactor cracked. Green energy burst outward violently, distorting space around it. Sonic reappeared midair, grabbing the exposed core. It burned against his gloves. The serpent's body convulsed, attempting to regenerate. Not happening, Sonic muttered. He began running in midair, feet striking nothing visible, building rotational force around the unstable reactor. A vortex formed around him, pulling debris, wind, and fragments inward. Midoriya shielded his eyes. The reactor's glow intensified, then fractured. With a final spin dash, Sonic hurled the core high into the sky, directly into the unstable portal. The collision triggered a massive explosion of blue and green light. The serpent collapsed instantly, lifeless metal crashing into the ground. The portal shrank, flickering erratically. Silence fell over the training field. Dust drifted slowly through the air. Sonic landed lightly, brushing his hands together. Man, he said casually, I just got here. The students stared at him, not with hostility now, but awe. Aizawa approached carefully. That machine targeted you specifically. Sonic looked up at the fading distortion in the sky. Yeah, he replied quietly, which means whoever built it knows I'm here. Far beyond UA's security perimeter, hidden within the shadows of Musutafu, a dark chamber flickered with holographic screens. A masked figure observed the battle footage calmly. All for One leaned slightly forward. A power source that surpasses Quirks and cannot be erased. Behind him, technicians examined fragments of recovered serpent metal infused with chaos residue. All for One smiled beneath the mask. How very interesting. Back at UA, emergency teams rushed in to secure the area. Midoriya stepped toward Sonic cautiously. That energy you mentioned, chaos energy, what is it? Sonic looked at him, emerald eyes unusually serious. It's power from my world. He glanced once more at the sky. And If it's leaking into yours, that's a big problem. Emergency crews swarmed Training Ground Beta, sealing off the collapsed serpent with reinforced barriers. Support course students rushed in with scanning devices, their equipment flickering as it attempted to process the strange green residue left behind. Sonic stood at the edge of the crater, arms folded, unusually quiet. Midoriya approached carefully, notebook already in hand. You said that machine uses chaos energy. Is it like a power source? Or a mutation trigger? Sonic exhaled slowly. It's older than machines. Older than most civilizations in my world. Chaos energy responds to emotion, especially strong willpower. It amplifies it. Midoriya's eyes widened. Energy that reacts to willpower. Similar conceptual behavior to One for All's inherited strength, but external instead of genetic. Behind them, Katsuki Bakugo scoffed. So what? Some mad scientist followed you here? Sonic's expression darkened slightly. If chaos energy's involved? Yeah, probably. Aizawa stepped forward again. His tone remained calm, but sharp. You arrived through that portal. The machine emerged seconds later. That implies coordination. Sonic nodded once. Someone forced that warp open. The portal above them flickered weakly, no longer stable but not completely gone either. Thin arcs of blue electricity snapped around its edges before fading. Midoriya looked up at it nervously. Can you reopen it? Not without the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic replied. The class exchanged confused looks. The what? Asked Eiichiro Kirishima. 7 gems. Massive power. They let me control chaos energy safely. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. And if someone else acquires them? Sonic's silence was answer enough. At that moment, campus alarms shifted tone, from combat alert to external threat detection. Principal Nezu's voice came through the speakers. Students, please return to the main building immediately. This is not a drill. Sonic tilted his head. That doesn't sound good. A distant explosion echoed from beyond UA's outer walls. Smoke rose over the tree line. Midoriya's heart pounded. Another attack? A security drone flew overhead, projecting a live feed into the air. In the nearby city district, technology was malfunctioning en masse. Traffic systems flickered. Hero support gear sparked violently. Several small robots, maintenance units, delivery drones, began twitching erratically before turning aggressive. Green energy pulsed through their circuits. Sonic clenched. That's chaos Bakugo cracked his knuckles. So it spreads. Aizawa, Class 1 unfold. Even from a distance, the oppressive aura was unmistakable. Midoriya whispered the name under his breath. All for one. Sonic followed his gaze. That's your big bad. Midoriya nodded slowly. The most dangerous villain in our world. Sonic squinted. Figures. Suddenly, the air behind Sonic shimmered. A small hovering device phased into existence. Sleek, metallic, bearing a glowing insignia shaped like a jagged mustache. Sonic's eyes sharpened instantly. No way. The device projected a hologram. A rotund figure with a grand mustache appeared, laughing theatrically. Ho, ho, ho! Sonic, did you enjoy my welcoming gift? Standing in full view was Dr. Eggman. Bakugo stared. You've got to be kidding me. Midoriya blinked rapidly. He's spherical. Eggman adjusted his glasses smugly. Welcome to a world of superpowered humans, my blue nuisance. I must admit their quirk system is fascinating. Genetic abilities embedded in the population, delightful. Sonic crossed his arms. You dragged me here. Correction. Eggman raised a finger. I opened a dimensional corridor using borrowed data. You ran into it. Sonic groaned. Of course I did. Eggman continued, tone turning more sinister. And now, I have formed a most profitable alliance. The hologram shifted briefly, showing the silhouette of All for One standing beside advanced machinery infused with chaos energy. Midoriya's breath caught. He's working with him. Eggman smirked. This world's villain understands power accumulation. I understand technological perfection. Together, we will evolve chaos energy beyond anything you've seen. The projection flickered. All I require is a stable chaos catalyst. The device's scanner pulsed, locking onto Sonic. Bakugo stepped forward aggressively. We'll blast your metal junk out of the sky. Eggman laughed louder. Oh, please. This is merely a relay. The true experiment begins shortly. The hologram vanished. The hovering device self-destructed in a burst of sparks. Sonic stared at the smoke trail it left behind. He's building something bigger. Midoriya looked toward the distant tower again, where green lightning now arced between antenna structures. If they combine chaos energy with stolen quirks, Aizawa finished the thought quietly, and they could rewrite the balance of power in Hero Society. Sonic cracked his knuckles, a confident grin slowly returning. Well, he said, guess I'm not just visiting anymore. Bakugo smirked back at him. Good, because we're not letting you have all the fun. Above them, the weakened portal flickered one last time, then stabilized, slightly as if reacting to the surge of chaos energy in the city. It wasn't closing. It was waiting. And somewhere within the growing storm over Musutafu, a new phase of conflict was beginning. One that would test not just speed or strength, but the very nature of power itself. The sky above Musutafu darkened unnaturally. Green lightning crackled between skyscrapers as chaos energy spread through the city's infrastructure like a virus. Traffic lights exploded. Digital billboards glitched violently, flashing distorted symbols that resembled warped emerald shards. Sonic stood at the edge of UA's main rooftop, wind whipping against his quills. Below, pro-heroes were already mobilizing. Midoriya joined him, breathing steady but tense. You don't know this world, Midoriya said carefully. All for One doesn't fight directly unless he's certain of victory. Sonic smirked faintly. Yeah, Eggman's the same. Big plans, bigger ego. In the distance, the tower wrapped in scaffolding began transforming. Steel plates shifted outward. Hidden machinery unfolded like a mechanical flower, blooming in reverse. At its peak, a massive ring-shaped device rotated slowly, humming with combined quirk energy and chaos power. Midoriya analyzed quickly. It's amplifying something. Sonic's eyes narrowed. It's broadcasting. Suddenly, every electronic device in a 5-kilometer radius synchronized to the same signal. Screens lit up across the city. The image of All for One appeared, standing calmly beside advanced machinery laced with emerald circuitry. Citizens of this hero society, his voice echoed smoothly. Today, you will witness evolution. Behind him, mechanical chambers opened. Inside each chamber floated fragments of green crystal, imperfect, unstable versions of chaos emerald shards. Sonic's expression hardened. He synthesized them. Midoriya whispered, artificial power replication. All for One continued. This energy originates beyond your world. It does not belong to your fragile genetic lottery. The camera shifted to reveal Dr. Eggman, hands clasped proudly behind his back. With my technological brilliance, Eggman declared, and his extraordinary quirk acquisition abilities, we have created a new frontier. The ring device above them accelerated. Energy spiraled upward into the unstable portal still lingering above UA. Sonic felt it instantly. They're trying to widen the rift. Back on the rooftop, Shota Aizawa joined the students. "This is no longer a contained incident," he said gravely. "Pro heroes are engaging across the city, but that tower is the epicenter." Bakugo cracked his palms, explosions sparking instinctively. "Then we hit the epicenter." "You are not authorized for full combat," Aizawa snapped. But before the argument could escalate, the portal above UA pulsed violently. A shockwave of compressed air slammed downward, forcing everyone to brace. From within the widening rift, metallic shapes began descending. Not one, not 10, hundreds. Drone-like machines poured out of the sky. Spherical, armed with rotating cannons and glowing emerald cores. Sonic's jaw tightened. Mass production egg pawns, upgraded. The drones scattered instantly across the campus perimeter, firing suppressive blasts to keep heroes pinned down. Aizawa reacted first, capture weapon snapping outward to disable 2 drones mid-flight. Todoroki unleashed a wave of ice that froze several more in place. But for every machine destroyed, 2 replaced it. Midoriya looked upward, fear mixing with determination. They're using the portal as a supply line. Sonic bounced lightly on his heels, energy building. "Then we shut the line down." Bakugo grinned fiercely. "Now you're talking." Another massive pulse erupted from there. The ring device locked onto the portal fully. The sky began tearing open further. Blue and green energies colliding violently. Sonic felt a familiar resonance deep in his chest. Not full Chaos Emerald energy, but close. "They're forcing synchronization between worlds," he muttered. Midoriya turned to him urgently. "If that portal stabilizes permanently, then my world and yours collide," Sonic finished. Below them, civilians screamed as drones descended into nearby streets. Without waiting for permission, Sonic vanished in a sonic boom. He reappeared mid-air, spinning through a cluster of drones, destroying them in rapid succession. Metal rained down harmlessly behind him. Bakugo blasted upward to join him, explosions lighting the sky. Midoriya followed, lightning surging across his limb. For a brief moment, the 3 of them moved in chaotic harmony. Speed, explosions, and inherited power cutting through the mechanical invasion. But high above, the portal widened again. A colossal silhouette formed within it. Something bigger than the serpent, bigger than the drones. A massive war machine began pushing through the dimensional tear. Humanoid in shape, plated in black alloy, with a glowing chaos core embedded in its chest. Eggman's laughter echoed across the city speakers. "Behold, the Chaos Dominator!" Sonic hovered briefly in mid-air, eyes locked onto the emerging titan. "Okay," he said quietly. "That's new." On the tower, All for One observed calmly. "This world will adapt," he said, "or it will be replaced." Midoriya felt his heart pounding violently. This wasn't just a villain attack. This was dimensional escalation. Sonic landed beside him again for a split second, wind swirling violently around them. "Hey, strategist," Sonic said with a confident grin returning. "You good at making plans on the fly?" Midoriya swallowed, then nodded firmly. "Yes." "Great." The Chaos Dominator's full body forced its way into their sky, casting a massive shadow over Musutofu. Sonic crouched low, blue lightning cracking around his frame. Because things are about to get really fast. The segment ends with the war machine's eyes igniting, the portal roaring behind it, and the combined forces of heroes and an interdimensional speedster preparing for the true battle to begin. 3 days after the Chaos Dominator incident, the sky above UA High School was calm again. Too calm. Temporary barriers had been erected around the campus. Support Corps engineers worked non-stop to repair damaged infrastructure, while pro-heroes rotated security shifts across Musutafu. Official reports labeled the invasion as a multi-villain technological assault. But inside UA, everyone knew the truth. This wasn't just a villain attack. It was dimensional warfare. On training ground, Gamma, Class 1A, stood in formation. In front of them, hands behind his back, eyes sharp despite his relaxed posture, stood Shota Aizawa. Beside him, tapping his foot impatiently, was Sonic the Hedgehog. Aizawa addressed the class. Given recent events, UA administration has approved a temporary integration protocol. Bakugo crossed his arms. Just say he's joining. Aizawa's gaze shifted slightly. Sonic will be undergoing combat evaluation and tactical training alongside the Class 1A. Sonic grinned. Guess I'm back in school. Don't expect me to take notes. Midoriya stood near the front, notebook already open. Subject: Sonic the Hedgehog, non-Quirk energy source, extreme kinetic output, possibly extra-dimensional biostructure. Aizawa continued. His abilities do not fall under Quirk classification. That makes him unpredictable and unregulated, which also makes him a target. Sonic's expression sharpened briefly. They're not after you guys, he admitted. They're after me. Midoriya looked up. But if All for One and Eggman combine Quirk replication with chaos amplification, they won't just copy speed, Todoroki finished calmly. They'll weaponize it. Aizawa nodded once, which is why we train. The gates to the combat zone slid open. Robotic combat units rolled into position. Upgraded training machines reinforced after the chaos attack. Today's objective, Aizawa said, measure Sonic's adaptability within Quirk-based combat variables. Sonic stretched casually. So, dodge stuff? Bakugo smirked. Try keeping up. The simulation began instantly. Missile drones launched from 4 directions. Automated turrets locked onto heat signatures. Before anyone moved, Sonic vanished. A shockwave cracked across the ground. In less than 2 seconds, every missile had been redirected mid-air, colliding harmlessly outside the arena. Turrets twisted violently as their targeting systems failed to track him. Sonic reappeared atop a hovering drone, spinning it on one finger. Warm-up complete. The class stared. Midoriya whispered, "That wasn't even effort." Aizawa narrowed his eyes slightly. "Again," he ordered. This time, the simulation escalated. Gravity zones activated randomly, electromagnetic pulses disrupted balance, smoke screens reduced visibility. Sonic dashed forward and immediately stumbled. The gravity field intensified beneath him mid-step, increasing weight tenfold. He skidded across the ground. Bakugo seized the moment. Explosions erupted around Sonic's projected path, cutting off angles preemptively. For the first time, Sonic adjusted instead of overwhelming. He ricocheted sideways, using a wall to redirect momentum. But Todoroki's ice surged upward, narrowing his landing options. Midoriya moved strategically, anticipating Sonic's natural escape vector. He favors circular acceleration patterns. Midoriya leapt, delivering a controlled 8% one-for-all smash precisely where Sonic was about to rebound. Sonic barely blocked, sliding backward across frozen terrain. He grinned. "Oh, now we're talking." Aizawa observed silently. He activated Erasure briefly. Not to affect Sonic, but to suppress Todoroki's flames mid-combo. The disruption forced Sonic to rely purely on environmental awareness rather than opponent power cues. The arena became a layered puzzle. Sonic's speed was unmatched. But the students were thinking, adapting, predicting. Midoriya shouted, He accelerates before changing vectors. Watch his shoulders. Bakugo blasted upward, detonating air pressure to force Sonic into a tighter arc. Ida activated Reciproburst, attempting to intercept. For the first time since arriving in this world, Sonic had to slow down to analyze. He skidded to a stop at center field. The ground cracked beneath his shoes. Wind spiraled outward from his frame. "You guys aren't half bad," he admitted. Midoriya breathed heavily but smiled slightly. "We fight villains who adapt too." Aizawa called halt. The simulation froze. "Observation," he stated calmly. "Raw speed does not equal battlefield dominance." Sonic tilted his head. Aizawa continued. "In this world, opponents possess layered abilities. Prediction, suppression, combination attacks. If you charge blindly, someone like All for One will exploit it." Sonic's grin faded slightly. Not offended, but thoughtful. Midoriya stepped closer. "You're faster than anyone we've ever seen, but speed without coordination makes you isolated." Sonic looked at them. Really looked. These weren't sidekicks. They were fighters raised in a society built around complex power interaction. In his world, he usually fought alone. Here, things worked differently. Aizawa crossed his arms. "Again," he ordered. Sonic crouched low, eyes focused now. No holding back this time. The gravity fields reactivated. The drones deployed. And this time, Sonic didn't just run. He waited. For the first time in this world, the fastest thing alive chose patience. And that changed everything. The drones fired first. Missiles streaked inward from 3 angles while gravity zones pulsed unpredictably across the arena floor. Smoke canisters detonated, clouding visibility. But this time, Sonic the Hedgehog didn't move immediately. He watched. His emerald eyes tracked the rhythm of the battlefield, the rotation speed of the drones, the timing between gravity pulses, the subtle shifts in his classmates' stances. Midoriya noticed instantly. "He's analyzing." Bakugo launched forward, explosions blasting behind him. "Don't slow down now." Sonic smirked. "Oh, I'm not slowing down." He vanished. But instead of chaotic zigzag motion, his path was precise. Calculated, he slipped between 2 missiles a fraction of a second before they crossed trajectories, tapped one lightly to redirect it toward a drone, and used the shockwave from Bakugo's explosion as propulsion rather than resisting it. Midoriya's mind raced. He's integrating external forces into his acceleration pattern. A gravity field intensified beneath Sonic mid-stride. Instead of fighting it, he leaned into it. He allowed the increased weight to amplify his traction, then released it in a forward burst the moment the field deactivated, converting stored force into a devastating speed spike. In an instant, 3 drones were dismantled. Ida activated Reciproburst, attempting to match Sonic's vector. For half a second, they ran side by side. Then Sonic adjusted stride length, subtly increasing cadence beyond Ida's engine output capacity. Ida fell behind. His efficiency increased, Ida muttered, astonished. Todoroki unleashed alternating ice and fire to box Sonic in. But Sonic didn't escape. He ran toward it. He curved along the ice's edge, using the friction difference between frozen and heated surfaces to slingshot himself upward. Flames bent backward from the vacuum pressure he generated. He flipped midair and tapped Todoroki lightly on the shoulder before landing behind him. "Nice combo," Sonic said. Bakugo growled, "Stop complimenting us and fight." Aizawa observed carefully from above. Sonic's movements were no longer random bursts of overwhelming velocity. They were structured, responsive, cooperative. Midoriya clenched his fist. "Everyone, pattern shift." The class adjusted formation. Instead of chasing Sonic, they began restricting space. Uraraka reduced gravity on debris, creating floating obstacles. Kirishima hardened himself as a stationary barrier. Zero launched tape lines to narrow Sonic's lane. It was a trap built on anticipation. Sonic accelerated, then abruptly stopped again. The sudden halt created a shockwave that disrupted their formation timing by milliseconds. And in that microscopic gap, Sonic threaded through. He reappeared at the arena's center, untouched. The drones powered down automatically. Silence fell. Aizawa called the end of the exercise. The students exhaled heavily, sweat and smoke rising around them. Sonic stretched his arms casually. "Okay," he admitted. "You guys are seriously good at teamwork." Midoriya approached, breathing hard, but smiling. "You adapted." Sonic shrugged lightly. "Speed's not just legs, it's timing." Aizawa dropped down from his perch. "You learn quickly," he said. "That will keep you alive." Bakugo scoffed. "He still hasn't shown everything." Sonic glanced at him sideways. "You haven't either." There was a mutual respect now. Competitive, but real. Before anyone could continue, a notification beeped on Aizawa's communicator. His expression shifted slightly. "Faculty briefing," he said. "Midoriya, Sonic, with me." Inside the main administration building, tension lingered in the air. At the far end of the conference room stood All Might, his muscular form present despite visible strain. On a large screen behind him flickered surveillance images from across Japan. Small, scattered chaos energy spikes had begun appearing nationwide. Not destructive, yet, but growing. All Might folded his arms. "The enemy is testing resonance stability." Midoriya swallowed. "They're mapping the world's energy response." Sonic stared at one image. A power plant where green arcs crawled across transmission towers. Eggman style. "He's seeding anchor points," Sonic said quietly. "Building a network." All Might nodded gravely. "Our analysts believe the artificial emerald fragments are amplifying Quirk signals." Midoriya's eyes widened. "If they synchronize with powerful Quirks, they could artificially boost selected individuals beyond natural limits," All Might finished. Sonic crossed his arms. "So, Eggman builds the tech. Your masked nightmare fuels it." All Might's gaze hardened at the mention of All for One. "He seeks control," All Might said. "Always." Sonic looked thoughtful for a moment. "In my world, chaos energy responds to emotional intensity, anger, hope, determination." Midoriya blinked. "That's similar to how One for All grows stronger." All Might glanced at Midoriya briefly, then back to Sonic. "If that is true," All Might said carefully, "then training you is not merely about combat." Sonic raised an eyebrow. "It is about control." The room grew quiet. Sonic's usual confident grin faded slightly. Chaos energy had nearly consumed his world before. Through beings like chaos itself and manipulations of the emeralds. If Eggman was artificially stimulating it in a Quirk-dense society, the emotional volatility alone could destabilize reality. Midoriya stepped forward. "We can help you train that control." Sonic looked at him. "For someone who can't even use full power without breaking bones." Sonic teased lightly. Midoriya smiled nervously. "Exactly." For the first time since arriving in this dimension, Sonic considered something new. Maybe this world didn't just need his speed. Maybe he needed their structure. Outside the window, faint green lightning flickered again on the horizon. The war wasn't escalating randomly. It was evolving. And so would he. The next morning, the sun rose over UA High School with a quiet intensity. The air smelled of ozone from yesterday's windstorms, and faint scorch marks still lined the edges of Training Ground Gamma. Sonic stretched atop a reinforced platform, quills flicking in anticipation. Today wasn't about casual dodging. Today was about integration, melding his pure speed with tactical combat in a world of quirks. Aizawa's gaze swept the field. This exercise focuses on cooperation, adaptation, and predictive reasoning. Sonic will operate alongside Class 1A. Your objective is to anticipate his movement and coordinate attacks accordingly. Bakugo grinned. Finally, a real challenge. Sonic tilted his head. Cooperation, huh? Guess I'll try it your way. Midoriya clenched his fists, heart pounding. He's not just fast, he's thinking differently. We have to adjust our tactics around him, not the other way around. The training field was filled with modular obstacles, shifting walls, platforms with variable gravity, and moving energy projectiles fired intermittently by automated turrets. Smoke canisters and holographic illusions created unpredictable visual interference. Ready? Aizawa asked. Sonic crouched low, born ready. The countdown ended. Drones surged from the corners of the arena, laser-guided projectiles streaking toward the center. Sonic vanished immediately, leaving nothing but afterimages. Midoriya darted forward, analyzing the velocity vectors. His green lightning tracing along his arms. He observed Sonic's trajectory carefully. He's using the drone's paths to amplify his momentum, incorporating kinetic feedback from the environment, predicting reactive force before it happens. Bakugo blasted a line of explosions, attempting to funnel Sonic into a constrained zone. Todoroki sent ice spikes rising from the ground to narrow the pathways. Ida adjusted his reciproburst engines to block anticipated exit vectors. Sonic dodged, but this time he didn't just evade. He utilized the energy from Bakugo's blasts to vault higher, slingshotting off Todoroki's ice spikes to change directions mid-air. With a subtle shift in foot placement, he redirected a laser projectile back at a drone, destroying it mid-flight. Interesting, Midoriya muttered. He's using our quirks against the simulation. And against us. Sonic landed briefly on a floating platform, eyes scanning rapidly. The platform shifted beneath him, gravity zones fluctuating unpredictably. Normally he relied on instinct, but today he paused, adapting. He adjusted his stride length, timing each step to the changing gravity to maintain optimal acceleration without overshooting. Bakugo growled. Ha! Still think you're faster than me, Blue Freak? He blasted himself upward to intercept, aiming for Sonic's anticipated exit point. Sonic's emerald eyes flicked toward Bakugo. He didn't flee. Instead, he vaulted off a debris mound, rotating in mid-air to avoid the blast while redirecting another incoming drone into Bakugo's trajectory. The explosion created a small shockwave, which Sonic used to ricochet further. Midoriya scribbled furiously in his notebook. This is more than raw speed. He's combining environmental manipulation, enemy force projection, and precise timing. His mind predicts outcomes in real time. Faster than I can think. Sonic landed behind Todoroki, who was preparing a defensive barrier. Instead of attacking, Sonic tapped him lightly on the shoulder and pivoted, using Todoroki's ice as a ramp to accelerate further. Todoroki froze for half a second, impressed, before regaining composure. Aizawa's voice cut through the haze of dust and energy. Stop! The field froze, and Sonic landed lightly on the ground, quills bristling slightly. Not bad, he admitted. You guys aren't just running into explosions blindly? Bakugo scowled. Don't start complimenting us. Sonic's grin widened. Relax, you earned it. Aizawa approached, his scarf retracting slightly. Analysis complete. Sonic, you integrated environmental variables and peer quirks into your movement strategy. Class 1A, You adapted quickly to an unpredictable high-speed ally. Both of you improved. Sonic tilted his head. So, I learned to work with Quirks. You learned to work with me. Sounds fair. Midoriya nodded, still catching his breath. That's the first time I've seen you adjust mid-combat instead of overpowering everything instinctively. That control, it's incredible. Sonic's eyes flickered with a serious intensity. Control is everything when you deal with energy that can tear worlds apart. At that moment, the emergency communicator beeped. Aizawa's expression darkened. Another chaos energy spike detected. This one's stronger than the last. Sonic straightened instantly, quills bristling. Figures, they're testing me. Again. Midoriya exchanged a glance with him. This training isn't over, is it? Sonic smirked faintly. Training never ends. Not when the stakes are this high. Aizawa's tone was firm. Class 1A will assist in containment. Sonic, your objective is to adapt your speed in real time to variable threat patterns, both mechanical and biological. Use everything you've learned. Sonic crouched low, energy starting to swirl subtly around him. Time to turn theory into practice. The students watched as he vanished into a blur, the air bending around him. This time, the training wasn't controlled. The city beyond UA waited, filled with lurking dangers and chaos disturbances. Sonic's real test had begun, integrating his unmatched speed into a world of unpredictable quirks, allies, and enemies. And as Midoriya prepared to follow, he realized something. This was no longer just a lesson in speed. It was a lesson in teamwork, adaptability, and survival against forces far beyond normal comprehension. The wind whispered across the field, carrying the faint hum of dimensional energy. Somewhere beyond the horizon, Eggman and All for One were already watching, planning their next move. Sonic's grin returned as he prepared to launch once more. Let's see if you can keep up. Class 1A. And with that, the fastest hero candidate's real training began. A rigorous test of control, strategy, and instinct, set against a world that had never seen anything like him. The field stretched out before Sonic like a labyrinth of shifting walls, floating platforms, and flickering energy fields. Automated drones zipped in unpredictable patterns, firing bursts of concentrated light. Gravity zones pulsed erratically, changing weight and momentum in an instant. Class 1A moved in unison, attempting to anticipate Sonic's path while defending the training ground from automated attacks. But today's challenge wasn't just the machines. This is the culmination exercise, Aizawa's voice echoed across the arena. Sonic, integrate your speed with human coordination. Class 1A, integrate your abilities with him. Think, adapt, react, fail, and you will be forced to restart. Sonic crouched, toes gripping the cracked surface, quills bristling as wind stirred violently around him. All right, let's make it interesting. He vanished before anyone could blink, leaving nothing but the faint afterimage of blue streaks. Drones scrambled, their targeting systems overwhelmed by his unpredictable motion. Midoriya shouted adjustments to his classmates, orchestrating a multi-angled trap using Todoroki's ice, Bakugo's explosions, and Uraraka's floating debris. Sonic reappeared mid-air, spinning briefly to redirect a laser projectile toward a cluster of drones. He tapped one of Todoroki's ice pillars as a springboard, propelling himself over a gravity field that suddenly intensified beneath him. Each movement was calculated, each reaction precise. This is incredible, Midoriya muttered under his breath. He's not just dodging. He's using us. the environment, and the obstacles to enhance his speed and momentum. Bakugo roared, blasting forward in a direct line towards Sonic. Sonic anticipated the trajectory, hopping onto the edge of a floating platform mid-air, redirecting the blast harmlessly outward while vaulting behind Bakugo to land squarely on the ground. "You're fast. I'll give you that," Bakugo muttered, slightly frustrated. "But speed isn't everything." Sonic smirked, brushing dust off his gloves. "Not everything. Just the part that matters most right now." Aizawa's scarf flicked subtly, suppressing minor obstacles in the area. Observation: raw velocity is insufficient without environmental integration. Coordination multiplies efficiency exponentially. Sonic, your reflexive instincts are excellent, but strategic patience is necessary in multi-variable combat. Sonic tilted his head. Strategic patience. Got it. Midoriya gestured toward the far side of the field. "The gravity zones are intensifying. If we funnel him there." Before he could finish, Sonic had already calculated the trajectory. With a blur of motion, he ricocheted off a wall, then Todoroki's ice ramp, and finally Uraraka's floating debris, landing precisely in a safe zone while redirecting two drones into a synchronized crash. Bakugo and Todoroki exchanged glances. "He's predicting our predictions." "Exactly," Midoriya said. "He's learning our battle patterns in real time." The simulation escalated further. Holographic enemies appeared, mimicking known villains with Quirk-like capabilities. They attacked with coordinated assaults. Fire, explosions, electric shocks, and gravity manipulation. All designed to force Sonic into reactionary movements rather than proactive control. Sonic analyzed their movement. "Okay, don't just react. Predict. Use their motion against them." He accelerated, moving along a precise arc. Each step leveraged recoil from obstacles. Each slide redirected energy. Each jump combined environmental physics with his innate kinetic output. The holographic enemies were overwhelmed before they even realized he had moved. Midoriya followed closely, green lightning flickering around him. He noted Sonic's adaptation patterns meticulously. He's integrating velocity, vector redirection, and environmental energy into a cohesive combat loop. If we can replicate that with coordinated Quirk support, it will multiply battlefield efficiency exponentially. Bakugo unleashed a massive explosion to block one side of the arena. Sonic didn't evade. He redirected the shockwave, using its force to propel himself higher and strike a hovering drone with pinpoint accuracy. Todoroki combined ice and fire strategically to control vertical pathways, while Uraraka manipulated debris to create launch ramps and momentum boosters for Sonic. Aizawa observed silently, arms crossed. Final observation: when velocity, predictive reasoning, and environmental manipulation converge, combat efficiency surpasses traditional Quirk limitations. Integration with allies amplifies output without diminishing personal control. Sonic landed lightly at the center of the arena, emerald eyes scanning his classmates. "All right, that's enough for now. I've learned a lot." Midoriya stepped forward, notebook in hand. "We've learned from you, too. Your ability to adapt instantly. It's like seeing the principles of One for All in motion, but externalized and reactive to everything around you." Sonic smiled faintly. "Not bad for a first week in your world. You guys aren't just observers. You're catalysts." Bakugo grunted. Maybe you're not entirely useless." The emergency communicator beeped again. Another chaos energy spike, stronger than any before. Sonic's eyes sharpened. Figures. They're pushing me again. Aizawa addressed the class. This isn't a drill. All hands, containment and evacuation protocols. Sonic, your training continues in real combat scenarios. Apply everything learned today. Sonic crouched, quills glowing faintly. Time to put lessons into practice. Midoriya glanced at him. Are you ready for real danger? Sonic's grin returned, confident and unwavering. Danger's my middle name. Well, not literally, but you get the point. As the students deployed strategically across the field and pro-heroes moved to reinforce city zones, Sonic vanished in a streak of blue light, moving toward the distant chaos energy spike. Today, the fastest hero candidate had not only integrated speed with strategy, but also learned to harmonize with a team. And somewhere beyond Musutafu, Eggman and All for One observed, their plans accelerating in response. The training had ended, but the real test was just beginning. The sky above Musutafu had turned a sickly green, the color of raw chaos energy bleeding into the city's atmosphere. Even the sunlight seemed distorted, filtered through faint arcs of emerald lightning that streaked across the skyline. From the rooftop of UA High School, Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Sonic observed the chaos spreading. Below them, sirens wailed, and civilians scrambled as small waves of drones surged into city blocks, targeting infrastructure, emergency vehicles, and power grids. All hands on deck, Aizawa's voice came through the comms. Pro-heroes are coordinating evacuation. Class 1A, you support civilian containment. Sonic. His voice paused. You engage the source directly, but coordinate with the students as necessary. Sonic cracked his knuckles, quills bristling. Direct engagement, huh? Sounds like my kind of problem. Midoriya adjusted his gloves, green lightning faintly pulsing along his arms. We'll support you, he said, but don't underestimate what they're building. Sonic's expression grew serious. I know. If Eggman and All for One combine chaos energy with quirk amplification, it won't just be a mechanical threat. It'll be an unpredictable evolution of power itself. Far across the city, the tower Eggman had fortified during the last assault pulsed with chaotic energy. Large ring-like structures rotated atop the building, resonating with the lingering portal that had refused to close after the previous encounter. From within, the silhouettes of All for One and Eggman moved among machinery, directing fragments of synthesized chaos emeralds into containment arrays. Eggman's voice carried through hidden speakers in the city, amplified to taunt any nearby heroes. Welcome back, Sonic. Did you enjoy your first taste of my ingenuity? This is only the beginning. With each chaos fragment stabilized, I will replicate your speed and surpass it. Sonic's fists clenched. I should have expected him to up the ante. Midoriya glanced at him, wide-eyed. If they can replicate that energy, it could destabilize even the strongest quirks in the area. The city could collapse under uncontrolled power surges. Bakugo smirked. Then we give them something to chew on. Let's tear this thing apart before they get the chance. Sonic gave a sharp nod. Exactly, but we have to do it smart. Aizawa's scarf flicked forward. Coordination is key. Students, follow Midoriya's lead and adapt to Sonic's movement patterns. He will engage at maximum velocity. Predictive support is your primary objective. The students scattered strategically. Uraraka lifted floating debris to create cover lanes, while Kirishima hardened himself to act as mobile barriers. Iida accelerated along streets, creating interception points, while Todoroki alternated ice and fire patterns to manipulate terrain. Sonic vanished in a streak of blue, leaving a faint hum in the air. Drones attempted to lock onto him, but the after images and rapid vector shifts made targeting nearly impossible. Midoriya called out adjustments. Sonic is taking the left flank. Todoroki, redirect ice barriers to support the projected trajectory. Bakugo, anticipate drone clusters near the reinforced streets. Sonic accelerated mid-air. Weaving between laser fire, he tapped one drone into a nearby building, ricocheting another into a gravity-shifted zone that immobilized it temporarily. "Nice thinking," Midoriya shouted, adrenaline surging. "Keep using the environment." The battle escalated. Green energy pulsed from the tower above, synchronizing with drones scattered throughout the city. Even pro-heroes like Endeavor and Hawks faced unexpected surges as chaos-enhanced drones attempted coordinated attacks. From a distance, the outline of the Chaos Dominator reappeared, reassembled using fragments, and reinforced with newly stabilized chaos energy. Its massive frame cast a shadow across multiple blocks, sensors glowing crimson, each movement precise and calculated. Sonic's eyes narrowed. "That's our target. Everyone else, hold them off as long as you can." The students engaged, combining quirks in layered defense. Uraraka lifted stray drones, flinging them into intersections where Todoroki's ice ramps redirected their movement. Ida formed high-speed patrol loops, preventing drones from flanking Sonic. Kirishima created barricades mid-motion, absorbing blasts, while Midoriya struck with carefully controlled, one-for-all punches to deflect enemy projectiles. Sonic charged toward the Chaos Dominator, running along streets with precision only his speed could achieve. Explosions erupted around him. Drones fired relentlessly, yet he moved like a blur, harnessing the recoil of impacts and environmental interactions to accelerate further. He reached the base of the war machine and paused. Using a combination of acrobatics and raw kinetic energy, he vaulted onto the Dominator's leg, sliding up its massive surface. Sparks and energy arcs flew as he adjusted grip to climb faster than any human could follow. "Midoriya, coordinate a disruption!" Sonic shouted. Midoriya calculated rapidly. "Todoroki, fire ice spikes from both sides to destabilize its balance while I push from below." Ice surged, freezing the Dominator's legs in place temporarily. Sonic launched upward, vaulting off a reinforced platform, striking the machine's core panel. Sparks flew. Green energy flared violently. The Dominator sensors recalibrated instantly, adapting to Sonic's high-speed intrusion. "Adaptive response detected," Midoriya exclaimed. "It's learning his movement patterns." Sonic's grin didn't waver. "Good. That just makes it more interesting." He dashed along the surface of the Dominator, hitting its joints and energy nodes with precise strikes, each footfall amplified by his momentum. Midoriya and the students continued their supporting roles, forcing drones into strategic paths and blocking reinforcements. Bakugo fired explosive volleys to disable turret systems, while Todoroki's fire blasts temporarily destabilized the energy cores. Uraraka's floating debris created mobile platforms for Sonic to rebound and strike vulnerable points on the Dominator's frame. The machine convulsed, shaking violently under the coordinated assault, but just as the heroes thought they had the upper hand, a pulse of green chaos energy erupted from the tower above. The Dominator's core glowed brighter than ever, emitting waves that distorted the city's energy grid. Even Sonic felt the resonance of chaos energy tugging at him. "Whoa, they're amplifying it from above," Sonic muttered, quills bristling. Midoriya's voice was urgent. "If they synchronize the tower's energy with the Dominator, it could overload the city's infrastructure and our abilities." Aizawa's voice cut through comms. "Containment is critical. Sonic, focus on disabling the core nodes. Class 1A, anticipate and intercept energy surges." Sonic nodded, crouching low. Blue energy crackled around him as he prepared to unleash a full-speed strike. At the same time, All for One and Eggman watched from their control tower, observing the coordinated response. All for One, they are adapting quickly, Eggman said. I underestimated their ability to integrate an external variable like him. All for One's mask shifted slightly. The villain responded, Sonic is a catalyst. He will disrupt our calculations if left unchecked. Prepare the secondary phase. The tower's mechanisms began whirring, launching additional chaos-infused drones and stabilizing the Dominator's armor. Green energy streams intensified, creating a web-like network across the city. Sonic crouched, eyes locking on the core node. Looks like it's time to go all out. He surged forward, faster than any normal human or Quirk could follow, leaving trails of compressed air that shattered nearby obstacles. The first 900 words of this segment end with Sonic making contact with a Dominator's core, his speed and precision a perfect counterpoint to the coordinated hero defense. The battle for the city, and the very balance of Quirk society against chaos evolution had officially begun. Sonic's feet slammed against the surface of the Chaos Dominator, sending sparks cascading across its reinforced armor. The machine trembled, energy circuits overloaded by the kinetic assault. Drones swarmed around the city trying to protect it, but the combined coordination of Class 1A slowed them down. Uraraka, lift that cluster of drones and redirect them toward the barricades, Midoriya shouted, his green lightning flaring. Uraraka acted immediately, using her zero-gravity quirk to hurl drones into Todoroki's ice ramps. Todoroki simultaneously fired bursts of fire to disable their cores, while Bakugo added explosive bursts to knock additional machines off balance. Sonic darted between them, moving faster than any Quirk could track. The Dominator's energy core flared violently, green arcs of chaos energy snapping toward the city streets below. Buildings quaked. Vehicles were flung into the air. Even the pro-heroes stationed near the city center paused as the surge distorted their power output. Everyone, stay coordinated! Aizawa's voice echoed through comms. Do not let the energy spikes break formation. Sonic, focus on the core nodes before the synchronization completes. Sonic grinned. Got it! He dashed across the Dominator's shoulder, compressing every step with precise timing, avoiding energy tendrils that erupted from the core. His quills glowed faintly, resonating with the residual chaos energy. The machine's adaptive systems recalculated with every strike, closing access to critical panels, but Sonic adjusted instantly, altering trajectory and leveraging environmental rebounds. Midoriya's eyes widened. He's not just fast, he's learning their learning patterns in real time. Bakugo's explosions tore through a line of drones attempting to flank Sonic. I told you speed alone isn't enough, but teamwork makes it deadly. Sonic vaulted over a retracting energy barrier. Landing directly on a vulnerable access panel, he slammed his palm against it, generating a kinetic shockwave that sent green energy arcs spiraling back toward the tower. Sparks erupted from the Dominator's joints. Core node destabilized, Sonic yelled. From above, the tower's rotation accelerated. Eggman's voice echoed through amplified speakers. Impressive, Sonic, but destabilization is temporary. The Chaos Dominator is only beginning to evolve. All for One's voice followed, smooth and sinister. The adaptive matrix is near completion. Increase output. Green energy surged across the Dominator's frame. Its sensors recalibrated, and robotic limbs twisted violently to counter Sonic's assault. Sonic's grin didn't falter. They learn fast. I learn faster. He launched himself into a series of high-speed maneuvers, striking multiple nodes in sequence. Each impact reverberated through the machine's structure, forcing temporary system failures. Sparks and shards of reinforced alloy flew outward. Midoriya coordinated with his classmates. Ida, intercept incoming energy projectiles. Kirishima, form a moving shield. Todoroki, combine ice and fire to create momentum channels for Sonic. Ida accelerated through the streets at maximum speed, forming interception loops to prevent energy spikes from reaching civilians. Kirishima hardened mid-motion, absorbing blasts while simultaneously moving to create a mobile barrier. Todoroki alternated ice and fire strategically, redirecting destructive energy while forming ramps and momentum channels for Sonic to utilize. Sonic exploited every opening. He ricocheted off Todoroki's ice ramps, redirected energy spikes with precise touches, and used Bakugo's explosions to vault higher, striking additional core nodes. Despite the chaos, Sonic maintained complete control over his speed, momentum, and trajectory. The Dominator convulsed violently under his attack, struggling to recalibrate. But Eggman and All for One weren't finished. A secondary pulse emitted from the tower, activating newly stabilized chaos fragments embedded into drones across the city. The surge amplified the Dominator's strength, giving it reactive armor that adapted to Sonic's kinetic feedback. Secondary phase, Sonic muttered, quills bristling. Now it's serious. The machine swung a massive arm toward him, reinforced with energy barriers. Sonic's reflexes reacted instantly. He vanished in a blur, reappearing behind it. He used the arm's momentum to vault across its back, striking weak points along its spine. Sparks flew as the armor warped, but didn't break completely. Midoriya shouted instructions. Everyone, focus on support. Don't let the energy spikes reach the city. Uraraka floated debris to create aerial platforms. Bakugo detonated precise explosions to redirect incoming projectiles. Todoroki stabilized ice bridges while sending controlled fire bursts to prevent energy surge buildup. Ida formed high-speed defensive loops. The Dominator convulsed violently, sensing the coordinated assault. Its adaptive core began emitting chaotic pulses, interacting with the city's infrastructure. Street lights flickered, vehicles were thrown into the air, and weak Quirk users nearby experienced temporary malfunctions in their abilities. Sonic gritted his teeth. If I can't stop the core nodes quickly, it'll synchronize with the tower and become unstoppable. He accelerated, faster than ever. Spinning in mid-air, he struck multiple nodes in rapid succession. Each strike sent kinetic energy waves through the Dominator, forcing its adaptive matrix into temporary overload. Sparks and fragments flew outward. Bakugo and Todoroki moved in sync to manipulate the battlefield for Sonic. Explosions, ice ramps, and fire bursts created momentum channels, allowing Sonic to maintain near maximum acceleration despite environmental hazards. Midoriya called out. Now, Sonic, combine all momentum paths and strike the central core. Sonic crouched low, energy crackling along his quills. With a burst of velocity, he launched straight toward the Dominator's central core, dodging energy arcs and robotic limbs with flawless precision. Every movement integrated the student's support, environmental rebounds, and residual chaos energy from the machine itself. He struck. The kinetic impact sent a shockwave through the Dominator, destabilizing the core. Green energy flared violently before surging outward in a controlled release that didn't harm the surrounding city. The Dominator shuddered, its limbs trembling as its systems struggled to recover. For a moment, silence fell over the battlefield. Even Eggman's amplified voice faltered. Sonic landed lightly, quills bristling, and turned to Midoriya. We've got a temporary window. Keep it tight. From above, the tower continued its pulse, attempting to synchronize new chaos fragments. All for one silhouette appeared among the machinery, calm but calculating. We've only slowed them, Midoriya whispered. If they stabilize again, the Dominator will be stronger than before. Sonic cracked his knuckles. Then we keep moving. Strike fast, strike hard, keep them off balance. The first 900 words end with Sonic and Class 1. A poised to continue their coordinated assault, a tense calm before the next wave of chaos-enhanced evolution begins, signaling the escalation of Hero Society's confrontation with Eggman and All for One's combined power. The city trembled under the pulsing waves of chaos energy. Musutafu's streets cracked, street lights flickered, and glass shattered in high-rise windows. But within the chaos, Sonic and Class 1A moved like a single organism, a coordinated machine of speed, strength, and precision. "Focus on the tower!" Sonic shouted, voice barely audible over the energy hum. "If we destabilize that, the Dominator will lose its amplification." Midoriya nodded, adrenaline coursing through him. "Todoroki, fire a concentrated ice and fire column to the tower's base. Uraraka, launch debris into trajectory paths to block drone reinforcement. Bakugo, use explosions to disrupt energy flows around the central structure." Sonic vanished, reappearing at multiple points in rapid succession. He utilized the debris platforms Uraraka created to ricochet and strike weak nodes on the tower's supporting pylons. Sparks erupted as kinetic impacts overloaded localized circuits. "Good coordination," Sonic muttered, almost to himself. "They've adapted faster than I expected." Bakugo grinned, letting out a string of explosions that knocked drones off course and created momentum boosts for Sonic. "I told you, working together makes us deadly." Ida raced along the city streets, forming interception loops that blocked flying drones and redirected stray energy blasts. Kirishima moved strategically, hardening mid-motion to shield civilians and provide mobile cover for Sonic's attacks. Todoroki's alternating ice and fire streams acted as launch ramps, allowing Sonic to maintain his incredible acceleration even while avoiding the Dominator's attacks. From the tower, All for One and Eggman watched carefully. The villains' combined gaze was focused, calculating every movement. "All for One, they're coordinating in ways I didn't predict," Eggman said, frustration creeping into his normally smug tone. "The integration of a Quirk team with Sonic's abilities is remarkable." All for One's eyes narrowed. All for One replied, "He is a catalyst. If left unchecked, his speed and adaptability could destabilize every system we have constructed. Initiate Phase 2. A surge of energy erupted from the tower. Additional chaos fragments activated, flowing into newly deployed drones across the city. The Dominator's sensors glowed green. Adaptive armor shifting in response to Sonic's previous strikes. Sonic braced, crouching low as a massive energy tendril swung toward him. Instead of dodging blindly, he used the momentum of the tendril to vault into the air, striking a nearby core node with precise impact. Sparks erupted, the machine quivered violently, but the armor adapted instantly, shielding the central circuits. Midoriya's eyes widened. It's learning his patterns. Each strike he makes, it's like the Dominator is predicting his next move. Sonic smirked, brushing off debris. "Predict all you want, I adapt faster." He sprinted along the Dominator's shoulder, striking multiple nodes in sequence. Each impact sent kinetic shockwaves that reverberated through the structure, destabilizing secondary systems. Drones swarmed, but the students' coordinated support kept them off balance. Uraraka lifted a massive chunk of rubble, hurling it toward an incoming cluster of drones. Todoroki fired concentrated ice spikes that immobilized several units, Bakugo's explosions shattered nearby structures, creating additional obstacles for drone navigation. Ida zipped through the streets, forming high-speed interception loops to block stray energy bursts. The Dominator roared, a mechanical sound amplified with chaos energy. Its arms swung violently, sending shockwaves through the streets. Sonic leapt from platform to platform, narrowly avoiding destruction while striking critical points. "Core nodes destabilized!" Sonic yelled, as sparks and fragments flew in every direction. But the villains weren't finished. From the tower, a massive surge of synchronized energy pulsed outward. The Dominator's adaptive armor became nearly impervious, responding instantly to Sonic's attacks. The city trembled. Civilian panic reached critical levels. Midoriya shouted, "We need to split its attention. Sonic, I'll coordinate a diversion with Todoroki and Bakugo." Sonic nodded. "Do it!" Todoroki unleashed a massive combination of ice pillars and fire blasts to force the Dominator into a restricted zone. Bakugo detonated precise explosions, further manipulating the battlefield. Midoriya surged forward with One for All, striking weak points in the Dominator's energy conduits to create openings for Sonic. Sonic vanished in a blur, appearing directly behind the machine's leg. Using the combined momentum from the student's actions, he struck a critical armor joint with immense force. Sparks flew, the armor cracking slightly under the repeated kinetic onslaught. The Dominator faltered. Its balance wavered. Green energy arcs flared uncontrollably, signaling a partial system failure. Eggman's voice boomed across the city. "Impossible! The Chaos Dominator is adapting faster than anticipated. All for One, we need a contingency." All for One's calm voice contrasted sharply. "Let them proceed. This is part of the evolution. Let the chaos of battle refine their potential. The faster they adapt, the greater the data we gain." Sonic crouched, quills shimmering with residual kinetic energy. "They're not going to learn fast enough to stop me." He launched himself into a series of high-speed attacks, ricocheting off Todoroki's ice ramps, using Bakugo's explosions for momentum, and striking remaining core nodes with pinpoint precision. Sparks, energy arcs, and fragments of reinforced alloy flew across the battlefield. Midoriya followed closely, analyzing every movement. He's using environmental energy, ally momentum, and reactive feedback simultaneously. His attacks are faster than the Dominator can fully adapt. Sonic struck the central core again, releasing a concentrated shockwave. The Dominator's body convulsed violently. Energy arcs flared outward, threatening nearby drones and infrastructure, but Midoriya and the students coordinated perfectly to redirect the energy harmlessly. "Now!" Sonic shouted. Class 1A executed a synchronized sequence. Uraraka floated debris into a blocking formation. Todoroki created a final ice ramp to guide Sonic's trajectory. Bakugo detonated a perfectly timed explosion to destabilize remaining nodes. Ida zipped through a closing loop, preventing energy spikes from escaping. Sonic accelerated, compressing every ounce of his speed and kinetic energy. He struck the central core with a devastating blow. Sparks, green energy, and mechanical fragments exploded outward. For a brief moment, the Dominator's adaptive systems failed completely. The city trembled, but the main core was destabilized. Sonic landed lightly on a nearby platform, quills bristling, breathing heavily but focused. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Ida regrouped around him. Sonic smirked faintly. "That's what happens when speed meets teamwork." Zawa's voice came through, calm but firm. "Observation. Integration of kinetic-based abilities with quirk coordination can surpass even adaptive mechanical evolution, but this is only temporary. Expect escalation." From the distant tower, Eggman clenched his fists, frustration etched across his face. They've destabilized the system, but it's not over. All for One silhouette appeared among the machinery. The Chaos Dominator faltered, But the evolution continues. Observe and adjust. The skyline of Musutafu flickered with faint green arcs of chaos energy, signaling that Hero Society's struggle against the evolution of power was far from finished. The city was trembling, streets cracked and buildings swaying as faint green arcs of chaos energy illuminated the sky. Sonic crouched atop a crumbling rooftop, quills bristling with kinetic resonance, eyes fixed on the tower that had become the epicenter of destruction. Class 1A spread out strategically around him, each student poised for action. All for one and Eggman aren't going to sit idle, Midoriya said, scanning the city below. Expect reinforcements. Phase 3 is imminent. Sonic's expression hardened. Good. Let's see what evolution looks like when someone pushes back. From the tower, a pulse of energy surged outward, far stronger than before. Drones scattered across Musutafu suddenly began glowing green, fused with residual chaos energy. Each movement was amplified, faster, smarter, anticipating the hero's attacks before they even moved. Bakugo's eyes narrowed. Figures. They never do anything the easy way. Aizawa's voice cut through the comms, calm yet commanding. Class 1A, coordinate strictly. Sonic, your speed is our greatest asset, but avoid overextension. Focus strikes on the core nodes. Disrupt their synchronization before Phase 3 stabilizes. Sonic crouched low. Understood. Time to turn this chaos into my playground. He vanished in a streak of blue, moving faster than the human eye could track. Each footfall struck with precision, ricocheting off Todoroki's ice ramps, Bakugo's explosions, and Uraraka's floating debris. Energy arcs shot past him, but he used every environmental element to amplify momentum, striking multiple core nodes in rapid succession. Midoriya observed closely, green lightning pulsing along his arms. He's not just dodging, he's predicting, integrating every variable, environmental forces, Quirk-assisted momentum, and even enemy learning patterns. The Dominator convulsed violently, sensors flaring as its adaptive matrix recalibrated. The secondary energy surge from the tower synchronized with the chaos-infused drones, amplifying the entire system. Sonic felt the pull of raw chaos energy, an unnatural force that threatened to overwhelm even his kinetic output. Phase 3, huh? Sonic muttered. They want to test me. Bakugo fired explosive volleys to intercept energy surges, while Todoroki created alternating ice firewalls to guide Sonic's movement. Uraraka manipulated debris to form aerial launch pads, and Ida zipped through streets at maximum speed to block incoming drones. From above, the tower began rotating faster, green energy streams interconnecting like veins across the city. Eggman's amplified voice taunted through hidden speakers. Welcome to Phase 3, Sonic. Let's see if you can handle a truly evolved system. All for one's calm voice followed. Observe. Every strike you make is anticipated. The faster you adapt, the faster the system evolves. You will provide the data for your own defeat. Sonic narrowed his eyes. Then we'll just have to be unpredictable. He launched into a flurry of high-speed maneuvers, striking nodes on the Dominator, while simultaneously redirecting drones into collisions with one another. Each movement was calculated, each strike precise, but now the machine responded faster, its armor flexing and shifting in anticipation. Midoriya shouted adjustments. Sonic, momentum! Use Bakugo's explosions to redirect energy surges. Todoroki, extend ice ramps to counter the reinforced armor. Sonic's grin widened faintly. Copy that. He ricocheted off the combined momentum of Todoroki's ice and Bakugo's explosions, striking a core panel on the Dominator. Sparks erupted, energy arcs flickered, but adaptive armor stabilized quickly. The synchronization pulse from the tower increased, feeding energy into remaining drones and the Dominator itself. Too fast. They're pushing us to our limits, Midoriya exclaimed, struggling to keep pace with Sonic's speed. Sonic's voice was calm. Limits are meant to be tested. He vanished again, striking multiple nodes in a complex pattern that even the Dominator's adaptive systems struggled to predict. Drones swarmed to intercept, but Class 1A maintained precise coordination, redirecting projectiles, creating momentum channels, and blocking civilians' paths. The tower emitted a massive pulse, resonating through the city. Buildings quaked, glass shattered, and streets cracked under the energy strain. Even the most powerful pro-heroes stationed nearby felt their quirk outputs destabilize. Sonic paused for a microsecond, sensing the resonance. He adjusted stride length and vector, using the pulse as a trampoline to launch himself directly into the Dominator's central core. "Midoriya!" Sonic called. "Now!" Midoriya activated One for All at maximum sustainable output, striking weak points in the Dominator's energy conduits to create openings. Todoroki fired concentrated ice and fire blasts, stabilizing momentum for Sonic's final strike. Bakugo detonated a massive explosion, destabilizing the remaining armor. Uraraka lifted debris to create an aerial springboard. Ida zipped at maximum acceleration, intercepting drones attempting to flank Sonic. Sonic compressed every ounce of speed and kinetic energy, launching straight at the central core. The impact generated a shockwave that reverberated across the Dominator, destabilizing the adaptive systems. Sparks, fragments, and green energy arcs exploded outward. The machine shuddered violently, its body convulsing as the energy surged uncontrollably. For a brief moment, even Eggman's amplified voice faltered. Sonic landed lightly on a nearby rooftop, quills bristling, breathing heavily but focused. Core destabilized. For now. Midoriya approached, green lightning flickering faintly. "You did it, but it won't stay down forever. They're learning, evolving." Sonic's eyes narrowed. "Then we keep pushing. Phase 3 won't stabilize if we keep up the pressure." Aizawa's calm voice cut through comms. Observation. Coordinated quirk support combined with sonic speed has temporarily outpaced adaptive evolution. But sustained engagement will require continuous adaptation and teamwork. Eggman slammed his fist on a console. "Impossible! The Dominator! It's destabilized! How? That's not supposed to happen!" All. For one's voice remained smooth and calculated. Sonic is more than a speedster. He is an anomaly, a catalyst for adaptation. He and Class 1A have temporarily disrupted the evolution, but the data we collect here will ensure the next phase is perfected. The city trembled as residual chaos energy arcs flickered across the skyline, a reminder that the battle was far from over. Sonic crouched again, quills bristling, and scanned the battlefield. "We've slowed them down," Sonic said quietly. "But we're not finished. They'll evolve faster next time, and the Dominator will adapt again. We have to stay unpredictable, coordinated, and relentless." Midoriya clenched his fists, determination shining through. "Then we'll fight, together." Bakugo smirked. Finally, some real action. Sonic's grin returned. "Good. Let's see how fast we really are. Against chaos evolution." And with that, the city's skyline illuminated by green energy pulses and the remnants of shattered machines, became the stage for an escalating conflict. A battle between hero society and the evolving chaos technology, where speed, strategy, and teamwork would determine the fate of Musutafu and beyond. The skyline of Musutafu was a shattered mosaic of chaos and green-hued energy. Buildings lay cracked, roads split like paper, and the hum of raw chaos energy vibrated through the air. The city's heroes had managed to slow the evolution of Eggman and All for One's combined threat, but the real challenge lay ahead. The central tower that acted as the heart of their operation. Sonic crouched atop a crumbling skyscraper, quills bristling, emerald eyes scanning the massive structure. The tower pulsed with residual chaos energy, its reinforced armor glowing with unnatural green light. This was more than just a machine. It was a fusion of Eggman's technological genius and All for One's quirk manipulating power, the symbol of evil itself. Midoriya, flanked by Bakugo, Todoroki, and the rest of Class 1A, watched him. "This is it," Midoriya said, determination hardening his gaze. "The core. If we don't neutralize it, Phase 3 will evolve into something unstoppable." Sonic cracked his knuckles, quills glowing faintly with kinetic energy. "Time to see what happens when you push a blue blur to his limits." Aizawa's voice came through comms, steady as always. "Sonic, Class 1A coordinate, avoid overextension. The tower will respond with unpredictable countermeasures. Focus on disruption first, direct strike second." Sonic nodded. "Understood. Let's do this smart. And fast." From the streets below, drones surged upward, fused with residual chaos energy. Each movement was precise, adaptive, and coordinated. A living defense system designed to intercept any hero attempting a direct approach. Bakugo smirked. "Figures they'd have a welcoming committee. Let's blow them apart." Sonic grinned. "I like your style, red hair." The first wave struck, and Sonic vanished instantly. His body moved faster than the eye could follow, leaving afterimages that confused the drone's targeting systems. He ricocheted off Todoroki's ice ramps, redirected projectiles with explosive momentum, and struck vulnerable nodes on the tower's exterior. Sparks and green energy arcs erupted, but the adaptive armor compensated immediately. Midoriya shouted, "Coordinate support. Todoroki, fire. Uraraka, debris. Ida, block the flanks." The students moved as one. Todoroki alternated fire and ice to manipulate the battlefield, creating channels and ramps for Sonic to maintain maximum speed. Uraraka lifted debris to act as launch pads and obstacles, while Ida formed high-speed patrol loops to intercept drones attempting to flank. Bakugo detonated precise explosions, amplifying Sonic's kinetic output while destabilizing enemy systems. The tower pulsed violently, energy arcs lancing outward, and in retaliation, Eggman's amplified voice echoed through the city. "Welcome, Sonic! Did you think Phase 3 was the limit? Behold Phase 4, the true symbol of evolution." All for One's voice followed, calm and menacing. "Observe. Every strike you make will feed our adaptation. You will provide the data for your own defeat." Sonic's eyes narrowed. "Let's make sure that data is worthless." He accelerated, faster than ever, striking multiple nodes on the tower's surface in a blur of blue. Sparks flew, energy arcs flickered, and the structure quaked, but it adapted instantly, reinforcing weakened panels and deploying additional drones. Midoriya's gaze was fierce. He's not just fast, he's learning their patterns in real time. The tower adapts, but so does he. Bakugo fired a coordinated volley, sending a shockwave that Sonic used to ricochet into the tower's weak points. Todoroki's ice spikes provided vertical momentum, while fire bursts stabilized landing zones. Uraraka's floating debris allowed Sonic to change direction mid-air with precision that defied physics. The central tower began vibrating violently, Large energy conduits opened along its exterior, channeling chaos energy into the Dominator and surrounding drones. Sonic paused midair, sensing the resonance. Phase 4. They're going all out, he muttered. Midoriya called out adjustments. Sonic, momentum. Use Bakugo's explosions to redirect energy arcs. Todoroki, extend ice platforms to counter reinforced armor. Everyone else, cover civilians. Sonic compressed every ounce of kinetic energy in his body, launching himself at top speed toward the tower's central node. Sparks and green energy arcs erupted as he struck with pinpoint precision. The adaptive armor flexed, but didn't shatter entirely. Eggman's face appeared on the tower's display screens, gleeful. You think you've made progress? This is the ultimate evolution. My genius combined with All for One's power. You're nothing. All for One's calm tone contrasted sharply. Sonic is a catalyst. If left unchecked, he will destabilize our system. But every reaction he forces strengthens our understanding. Continue. Sonic smirked. We'll see who evolves faster. He leapt again, striking multiple nodes in rapid succession. The tower convulsed violently, releasing a shockwave that rattled nearby buildings. Drones scrambled to intercept, but Class 1A's coordinated efforts kept the majority of the attacks away from civilians. Midoriya's thoughts raced. He's integrating ally momentum, environmental manipulation, and reactive feedback simultaneously. His strikes are faster than the tower's adaptive systems can fully compensate. Sonic vanished midair, reappearing behind an energy conduit, striking it with concentrated force. Sparks flew, energy arcs exploded outward, and the tower shuddered. Adaptive armor panels cracked, revealing the glowing core beneath. Bakugo's explosions detonated perfectly in sync with Todoroki's ice and fire ramps. Sonic used the momentum to launch himself directly at the central core node. Uraraka floated debris in perfect alignment to amplify the trajectory, while Ida's high-speed loops intercepted energy surges aimed at the team. The Dominator and tower convulsed violently. The energy pulses grew chaotic, and the drones reacted unpredictably. Sonic's speed, combined with Class 1A's precision, began to overwhelm the system. Midoriya shouted, "Now, Sonic, strike the core!" Sonic compressed every ounce of speed and kinetic energy into a single impact, striking the core node with devastating force. Sparks, green energy arcs, and fragments exploded outward. The tower's adaptive armor convulsed, unable to compensate for the perfect combination of speed, momentum, and coordinated support. For a brief moment, silence fell over the city. The central tower shuddered violently, but did not collapse. Eggman and All for One exchanged grim glances. Sonic landed lightly, quills bristling, breathing steadily but focused. Temporary destabilization achieved, but it's far from over. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, and the rest of Class 1A regrouped. We've made progress, Midoriya said, but they're evolving faster than we can fully counter. Sonic, what's next? Sonic's grin returned, fierce and unwavering. We push harder, faster, smarter. Chaos evolution may be adaptive, but together we're unpredictable. The green arcs of residual chaos energy continued to pulse, illuminating Musudafu like a storm. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. Supersonic versus the combined genius and malevolence of Eggman and All for One. Sonic crouched on the edge of the central tower, the wind whipping around him, quills glowing faintly as residual chaos energy resonated in the air. The city below was a mosaic of chaos and destruction, yet the determined faces of Class 1A reminded him of what was at stake. Midoriya's voice came through comms, tense but focused. Sonic, The tower's central core is almost fully stabilized again. They're accelerating Phase 4 evolution. If we don't act now, it could become unstoppable. Sonic's green eyes hardened. Then it's time to go beyond speed. He clenched his fists, energy crackling around his body as the golden glow of Chaos Emerald resonance began to envelop him. His quills lifted, shimmering with kinetic energy amplified to supercharged levels. Sonic felt the raw power coursing through him, a force beyond normal speed. The culmination of every battle, every obstacle, every ally he had relied upon in Musutafu. Supersonic, Midoriya whispered, awestruck. He's transcending. Bakugo's grin widened. Ah, about time. Let's see these villains regret underestimating him. With a sudden burst, Sonic launched himself into the air. His body became a streak of gold light, moving so fast that even the Dominator's adaptive sensors struggled to track him. Sparks and green energy arcs from the tower collided with his golden form, dissipating harmlessly against his kinetic aura. From the tower, Eggman's voice rang out, a mixture of frustration and fear. Impossible! The speed, the energy, how is he? All for One's calm, calculated voice followed. He is no ordinary variable. Observe carefully. This form amplifies kinetic output exponentially. Adjust adaptive systems accordingly. But even as they recalibrated, Sonic was already everywhere at once. His golden form streaked across the tower, striking multiple core nodes simultaneously. Sparks flew as reinforced armor cracked and shattered under his impact. Drones tried to intercept him, but his movements were unpredictable, leaving only trails of golden light. Class 1A, now! Midoriya shouted. Support him! Don't let any drones or energy surges reach him! Bakugo fired explosive volleys in precise timing, creating momentum boosters and destabilizing defensive drones. Todoroki unleashed a barrage of ice and fire ramps to redirect Supersonic's trajectory across multiple vulnerable points. Uraraka manipulated debris with pinpoint accuracy, forming aerial launch pads for rapid strikes. Ida sped through streets and rooftops, intercepting drones attempting to flank. Sonic compressed every ounce of kinetic and chaos energy, striking the core nodes in rapid succession. Sparks erupted, green energy arcs flared, and the tower trembled violently. The adaptive armor convulsed, unable to compensate for the combined speed, power, and coordinated support. Midoriya's heart raced. This is beyond anything I've ever seen. He's integrating every environmental factor, every ally's momentum, and every energy reaction simultaneously. He's unstoppable. Sonic's golden quills bristled as he landed on the tower's central node, fists slamming into the glowing core. Energy erupted outward, shaking the surrounding drones and destabilizing the tower's systems. Adaptive panels twisted violently, some cracking entirely under the supercharged kinetic force. Eggman's voice was a mixture of panic and disbelief. How is he moving so fast? The Chaos Dominator should have adapted. All. For One's calm expression remained, though a subtle tension lingered. Kinetic energy amplified beyond expected parameters. He is indeed a unique variable, but we can adapt. Sonic gritted his teeth. Not fast enough. He leapt off the central node, spinning in midair. His golden aura expanded, creating a shockwave that knocked drones and debris outward. Sparks and energy arcs collided with his body harmlessly, absorbed by his kinetic field. Each strike on the remaining core nodes sent reverberations through the tower, cracking reinforced panels and destabilizing energy conduits. Midoriya shouted adjustments. Everyone, maintain perfect synchronization. Sonic is striking multiple points at once. We have to support him fully. The students moved in perfect coordination. Uraraka flung debris into strategic positions, blocking energy surges and creating launch ramps. Todoroki alternated ice and fire bursts to manipulate the battlefield and amplify Sonic's movement. Bakugo detonated precise explosions to destabilize drones and armor panels. Ida intercepted reinforcements at high speed, clearing pathways for the supercharged hero. The tower convulsed violently under the assault. Green energy arcs flickered erratically, unstable under the relentless combination of Supersonic's kinetic force and Class 1A's coordinated support. Sonic's golden aura intensified. "This ends now!" He dashed across the tower in a blur of light, striking the final core nodes simultaneously. Sparks, green energy, and fragments of reinforced alloy exploded outward. The Dominator convulsed, its adaptive systems faltering under the sheer magnitude of Supersonic's assault. Eggman screamed into his communicator. "No, this can't be! The Chaos Dominator, it's destabilizing!" All for One's calm tone remained, but tension showed in the subtle shift of his posture. The variable has exceeded expected kinetic limits. Containment is failing. Sonic landed lightly on a nearby platform, golden quills shimmering, eyes scanning the tower. Core destabilized. Entire system is unstable. Midoriya, breathing heavily, watched him. We actually did it. But the energy, it's still chaotic. If the tower collapses, the city... Sonic shook his head, a determined grin crossing his face. Then we control the collapse. Phase 4 may have evolved, but we're faster, we're smarter, and together, we're unstoppable. The green arcs of residual chaos energy flickered across the skyline, illuminating the shattered city as the golden streak of Supersonic hovered above the tower. This was the moment of confrontation. The ultimate clash of speed, strategy, and raw power against the symbol of evil itself. Supersonic hovered above the central tower, golden quills crackling with energy, a living streak of light against the green-tinted skyline. The city below shook with the residual chaos energy from the destabilized tower. Class 1A spread strategically across rooftops and streets, ready to act on Sonic's command. The cores destabilized, but not destroyed, Midoriya called out, eyes sharp with focus. If it stabilizes again, the city could be annihilated. We need to finish this before Phase 4 recalibrates completely. Sonic's grin widened. Good. I was hoping they'd bring the big guns. From the tower, Eggman's mechanical voice boomed, amplified across the city streets. You've done well to slow me down, Sonic, but this is the ultimate evolution. The Chaos Dominator will rise again, stronger than ever. All for One's calm, chilling voice followed. You underestimate the data we have gathered. Each action you take feeds the system. Your speed is impressive, but it only informs the next evolution. Sonic's eyes narrowed. Then let's make sure the next evolution has nothing to work with. He launched into motion, streaking toward the tower at a velocity that made even the adaptive systems hesitate. Sparks erupted where his golden aura intersected energy arcs, and drones tried to intercept him, only to be flung away by the kinetic force of his strikes. Midoriya shouted instructions, coordinating the students' support. Bakugo, fire explosive volleys to destabilize the new armor. Todoroki, maintain ice and fire ramps for trajectory support. Uraraka, manipulate debris to block energy arcs. Ida, intercept reinforcements at all costs. The coordinated strike was seamless. Bakugo's explosions created momentum pathways for Supersonic while simultaneously knocking drones off balance. Todoroki's ice spikes and fire blasts allowed Sonic to change direction mid-air with precision impossible for the adaptive A1 to predict. Uraraka lifted debris, forming launch pads to redirect his trajectory. Ida zipped along streets, intercepting incoming energy surges and drones. Sonic compressed every ounce of energy into a strike on the first critical core node. Sparks flew, energy arcs erupted, and panels of adaptive armor cracked under the pressure. The Dominator shuddered violently, attempting to recalibrate. Phase 4. Can't adapt fast enough, Sonic muttered. We're in control now. Eggman's amplified voice became frantic. No, this is impossible. The Chaos Dominator should counter him. All for One's calm exterior remained, but his eyes narrowed slightly. He is exceeding expectations. Initiate adaptive reinforcement. Prepare secondary protocol. From within the tower, additional drones emerged, infused with chaos energy, moving in complex patterns. Energy conduits released green pulses across the city, aiming to disrupt coordination. The streets shook as secondary energy surges cascaded outward. Sonic smirked. Secondary phase? Fine, let's speed this up. He dashed between the drones, ricocheting off Todoroki's ice ramps and Bakugo's explosions. Each strike destabilized multiple core nodes simultaneously. Sparks and fragments flew in every direction, green energy arcs dissipating harmlessly against his golden kinetic aura. Midoriya called out, adrenaline surging. Everyone, maintain perfect synchronization. Sonic is striking multiple nodes at once. We cannot falter. Uraraka flung debris into precise locations, blocking energy surges and providing momentum pathways. Todoroki fired alternating ice and fire blasts to amplify Sonic's kinetic strikes. Bakugo detonated controlled explosions, destabilizing remaining drones. Ida formed high-speed loops to intercept reinforcements. The central tower convulsed violently. Sparks and green arcs flew across the skyline, the adaptive armor struggling to compensate for the combined speed and force of supersonic and Class 1A support. Sonic launched himself at a series of core nodes, striking with near-perfect timing. Each strike sent shockwaves through the tower, destabilizing conduits, weakening support structures, and overwhelming the adaptive AI. The Dominator quivered, sparks flying from joints and panel cracks. Eggman's voice cracked with desperation. No, this can't be. Every system is failing. How is he this fast? All for One's expression remained calm, but his posture shifted, subtle tension in his shoulders. The variable has surpassed our calculations. Kinetic output is beyond the expected parameters. Sonic landed atop the central node, energy surging through him. This ends now. He launched a sequence of blindingly fast strikes, ricocheting from support ramps, explosive arcs, and debris platforms. Sparks and energy arcs exploded with every contact. The Dominator shuddered violently under the sheer magnitude of his kinetic output. Bakugo's explosions synchronized perfectly with Sonic's movements, destabilizing armor panels. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps amplified trajectory and strike precision. Uraraka's debris formed launch platforms midair, and Ida's high-speed loops intercepted remaining drones and energy arcs. The final core nodes were within reach. Sonic compressed every ounce of energy, golden aura expanding into a blinding shockwave. He slammed both fists into the remaining panels simultaneously. Sparks, debris, and energy arcs exploded outward. The tower convulsed violently, systems failing as the adaptive armor collapsed under the supercharged assault. Eggman's amplified voice screamed into the air. No! The Dominator! It's falling apart! All for One's calm tone remained, though tension was evident. Containment? Impossible. The variable exceeds expected limits. Sonic hovered lightly atop the crumbling central node, golden quills bristling, aura blazing with kinetic energy. Core destabilized, tower unstable. That's the limit of Phase 4. Midoriya's voice came through, awestruck. We did it. The system, it's collapsing. Sonic's grin returned, fierce and determined. Phase 4 may have evolved, but we're faster, we're smarter. Together, we're unstoppable. Green arcs of residual chaos energy flickered across the skyline. Musutafu lay battered, but still standing. Supersonic hovered above the tower, a golden streak of kinetic brilliance against the storm of destruction. This was the turning point. The ultimate confrontation of speed, teamwork, and raw power against the symbol of evil. The central tower shuddered violently, green chaos energy flickering like lightning through its fractured panels. Sparks flew in every direction, drones scattered chaotically, and the hum of raw energy reverberated across Musutafu. Supersonic hovered above the tower, quills bristling gold, aura blazing with kinetic force. The battlefield had become a blur of destruction, speed, and power. Midoriya's voice came through comms, tense but focused. "Sonic, the core's fully destabilized. If we don't act now, it might stabilize again. We need to end this before Phase 4 recalibrates completely." Sonic's grin hardened, determination etched in every movement. "Then it's time to finish this. No holding back." He darted toward the tower with a velocity that made even the adaptive systems falter. Sparks collided harmlessly against his golden aura as energy arcs from the tower sought to intercept him. But he was everywhere at once, streaking between drones and shattered panels, striking critical nodes with precision no AI could predict. Bakugo's explosions detonated in perfect timing, creating momentum boosters for supersonic while destabilizing drones. Todoroki's alternating ice and fire ramps gave Sonic vertical leverage and lateral speed, amplifying the kinetic force of each strike. Uraraka manipulated debris to form launch pads mid-air, redirecting Supersonic's trajectory into the most vulnerable points. Ida zipped at maximum speed along the streets and rooftops, intercepting reinforcements and energy bursts. The tower trembled under the assault. Sparks and green arcs flared across the skyline as adaptive panels twisted violently. Energy conduits arced outward uncontrollably, signaling imminent collapse. Sonic crouched momentarily atop a crumbling platform, his golden aura expanding, kinetic energy surging through every fiber of his body. He gritted his teeth, quills lifting as the final strikes began. "Midoriya, now!" Sonic shouted. Midoriya surged forward with one-for-all green lightning flaring along his arms. He struck weak points in the tower's conduits, amplifying the destabilization caused by supersonic. Bakugo detonated a massive, perfectly timed explosion to shatter reinforced armor panels. Todoroki unleashed a concentrated blast of fire and ice to manipulate the trajectory of supersonic strikes and further destabilize the core. Uraraka lifted enormous debris into precise positions to redirect kinetic force. Ida moved at top speed, intercepting drones and energy arcs attempting to flank. Sonic compressed all his speed, momentum, and chaos energy into one final assault. He slammed both fists into the central core simultaneously. Sparks, fragments, and green energy arcs exploded outward. The tower convulsed violently, trembling as systems failed. Eggman's amplified voice screamed in frustration. "No! How? How is this possible?" All for One's calm tone remained, but tension crept into his posture. The variable has exceeded expected kinetic limits. Containment impossible. The tower's central core erupted, energy arcs lancing skyward in a controlled explosion as Supersonic's kinetic field absorbed the impact of the collapse. Sparks and debris rained down across the surrounding cityscape. Adaptive armor panels twisted and shattered, releasing residual chaos energy harmlessly into the atmosphere, thanks to Sonic's containment maneuver. Supersonic hovered lightly above the destroyed node, aura blazing gold, quills shimmering. He glanced down at Class 1A, who were coordinating perfectly to shield civilians and redirect energy surges. "Core neutralized. Tower unstable. That's the end of Phase 4. Midoriya, panting and exhilarated, looked up at him. We actually did it." The system. It's collapsing. Bakugo's grin widened, cocky as ever. Finally, someone actually destroyed that ugly tower. Sonic landed on the nearest rooftop, golden aura flickering as he slowed, energy still crackling. Phase 4 may have evolved, but we're faster, we're smarter. Together, we're unstoppable. The skyline of Musutafu flickered, with faint green remnants of chaos energy, now harmless and dispersing into the night. The city lay battered, yet alive, a testament to the combined power of Supersonic and Class 1A. Eggman's frustrated shouts echoed faintly in the distance. No! My masterwork! Destroyed by a blue hedgehog and a bunch of teenagers. All for one's calm gaze lingered on the destroyed tower. Even variables as extreme as him cannot be contained forever. But today, the outcome favors them. Observe, adapt, prepare. Sonic turned to Midoriya and the students. We slowed them down, but they're not finished. Chaos evolution will always adapt if left unchecked. Midoriya nodded, determination burning in his green eyes. Then we'll be ready. Together, we'll face whatever comes next. Bakugo flexed, smirking. Bring it. Let's see what else they've got. Todoroki's expression was calm, but resolute. The city survived because we coordinated. That's the power we have when we work as one. Uraraka floated debris gently back to the streets below, stabilizing what remained of damaged structures. Everyone, we did it. Ida adjusted his speed, circling the area to ensure all civilians were safe. High-speed coordination and teamwork, the key to victory. Sonic smirked faintly, golden aura dimming but still radiant. Phase 4 may have been a nightmare, but it's proof. Chaos evolution doesn't stand a chance when speed meets teamwork. The remnants of the tower smoldered, sparks cascading harmlessly into the streets. Musutafu's citizens began to emerge from hiding, witnessing the hero's triumph. Supersonic hovered briefly, then streaked across the skyline, golden light illuminating the battered city. A symbol of hope, speed, and unstoppable determination. Even as Eggman and All for One retreated into the shadows, plotting their next move, one fact remained undeniable. Hero Society, aided by the fastest hero in the multiverse, had prevailed against a threat that combined technology, quirk manipulation, and chaos evolution itself. The night air was filled with the sound of victory. Golden streaks of supersonic lighting the skyline, Class 1A regrouping on the rooftops, and Musutafu standing resilient against destruction. Sonic glanced at Midoriya, his eyes sharp but approving. You've got spirit, Class 1A. Not bad at all. Remember this, speed alone doesn't win battles. Strategy, coordination, and heart. That's what makes you unstoppable. Midoriya's smile was fierce. We'll remember, and we'll be ready next time. As the golden aura of Supersonic faded into the night, the city settled into a quiet tension. Battered, yes, but alive. The symbol of evil had been confronted, the tower destroyed, and Hero Society had survived. But somewhere in the shadows, Eggman and All for One were already plotting, calculating the next evolution, the next challenge. And Supersonic, the golden blur of hope and unstoppable speed, would be ready. Musutafu lay in ruins, yet the city still breathed. Streets cracked, buildings smoldering, and the faint green traces of chaos energy flickering across the skyline reminded everyone that the battle was far from over. Supersonic had neutralized the central tower and disrupted Phase 4, but Eggman and All for One had not yet been fully confronted. Their presence lingered like a storm cloud, waiting for the right moment to strike again. Sonic crouched atop a crumbling skyscraper, golden aura dimming, but still radiating kinetic energy. Quills bristled as his emerald eyes scanned the horizon. "They're out there," he muttered. Waiting, calculating, always planning. Midoriya approached, adrenaline still coursing through him. "We've slowed them down, but we can't let our guard down. If Eggman and All for One recover, Phase 5 will be even worse." Bakugo's smirk was cocky, but his eyes were sharp. "Ha, let them try. We've got speed, skill, and brains. What else do they have?" Todoroki's gaze was steady, icy, and calculating. "We can't underestimate them. Phase 4 was intense, but this isn't over. They'll escalate. We need a strategy. And fast." Uraraka floated debris back into the streets, carefully avoiding structures that could collapse. "Everyone, we need to regroup, organize, and be ready for anything." Ida circled the area at high speed, scanning for energy signatures, observing residual chaos energy patterns. They are weak but spreading. If left unchecked, it could regenerate the tower's power. Sonic nodded, determination hardening. "Then we cut it off before it regains momentum. Phase 5 won't wait for anyone, and neither will I." The air vibrated with residual energy as the heroes moved strategically across the city. Class 1A formed a coordinated perimeter, positioning themselves to shield civilians and intercept any sudden attacks. Supersonic hovered above, kinetic energy radiating like a beacon, ready to strike. Instantly, from the shadows, a low, menacing hum began to resonate through the city. Eggman's voice, amplified and frantic, echoed across the streets. "You may have won this round, Sonic, but Phase 5 will surpass your imagination." All for One's calm, chilling tone followed. "Do not underestimate the potential of the chaos variables. They will adapt to everything you throw at them. Eventually, prepare the final protocol." Sonic's grin widened, golden quills shimmering. "Then it's time to finish this. Let's show them what happens when speed meets heart and teamwork." The city's ruins became the battlefield. Drones, newly deployed, surged from the shadows, fused with residual chaos energy. Each movement was precise, adaptive, and lethal. The heroes had seconds, perhaps less, to react. Bakugo detonated explosive volleys, scattering drones and creating momentum channels for supersonic. Todoroki alternated ice and fire, forming ramps, platforms, and obstacles to manipulate the battlefield. Uraraka lifted debris into precise positions, redirecting kinetic energy and blocking drone attacks. Ida moved at maximum speed, intercepting reinforcements and creating paths for civilians to evacuate. Sonic streaked through the chaos, golden form a blur, striking multiple core nodes embedded in new drones simultaneously. Sparks erupted, energy arcs exploded, and adaptive systems quivered under the supercharged assault. Midoriya's voice came through, urging coordination. "Sonic, Bakugo, Todoroki, keep them off him. Uraraka, protect civilians. Ida, intercept energy surges. Everyone, maintain synchronization." The battle was a whirlwind of movement, energy, and strategy. Supersonic's golden aura collided with chaos energy in dazzling arcs. Drones attempted interception, but were ricocheted into each other or shattered under his kinetic strikes. Bakugo's explosions amplified each strike. Todoroki's ice and fire platforms guided movement. Uraraka's debris controlled trajectories, and Ida's loops intercepted reinforcements. Sonic's speed was unmatched, yet every strike had purpose. Each movement exploited weaknesses in the chaos constructs. Sparks and energy arcs exploded around him as the adaptive systems struggled to compensate. The city shook under the combined force of kinetic strikes and chaos energy surges. From the distant shadows, Eggman shouted orders, frantic and desperate. "No! The Chaos Dominator! It's collapsing! Accelerate Phase 5! Adapt the drones! Don't let him destroy everything!" All for One's calm voice added, cold and analytical. The variable exceeds expectations. Adjust secondary and tertiary protocols. Prepare the ultimate evolution. Sonic's green eyes narrowed, determination blazing. Ultimate evolution. Fine. Let's see if it's faster than me. He darted between drones and debris, striking multiple weak points in perfect succession. Sparks flew as the remaining adaptive armor cracked. Energy arcs flared wildly, unable to stabilize against Supersonic's kinetic output. Midoriya's heart raced. He's integrating everything. Ally momentum, environmental manipulation, reactive feedback, at a speed the AI cannot handle. This is incredible. Sonic's golden aura intensified. Time to end this! He crouched, compressing energy, quills bristling as kinetic power built to its limit. Then, with a burst of blinding speed, he launched at the heart of the chaos construct, the ultimate strike aimed at the central node controlling Phase 5. Sparks, debris, and green arcs exploded outward. Eggman's voice screamed in frustration. "No! My ultimate evolution! Destroyed!" All for One's calm tone held, though tension crept into his posture. Containment. Impossible. The variable exceeds all parameters. Supersonic landed lightly on a rooftop, golden aura flickering, but still radiant. Phase 5 neutralized. Chaos evolution stopped for now. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Aida regrouped. Exhilaration and exhaustion written across their faces. "We did it," Midoriya said, breathing heavily. "They're gone, at least for now." Sonic smirked faintly. "Fastest hero wins again, but remember, they'll adapt, they'll plan. Next time we need to be faster, smarter, and even more coordinated." The city's skyline flickered with faint green remnants of chaos energy, now harmless and dispersing. Musutafu stood battered, but alive. A testament to speed, teamwork, and determination. The city streets of Musutafu were fractured and cracked, but the battle was far from over. Though Phase 5 had been partially neutralized, Eggman and All for One were not finished. From the shadows, a low hum began to reverberate, pulsing with chaotic energy that made the very air vibrate. Sonic hovered above the ruins, golden quills bristling, emerald eyes scanning every corner. "They're back," he muttered, his voice tense. Phase 5 isn't fully over, and they've got a new trick up their sleeve. Midoriya tightened his grip on One for All. "We have to be ready. They won't wait. This time, we need to anticipate everything." Bakugo cracked his knuckles, grin wide and eager. "Ha! Bring it. Let's see what kind of chaos they've cooked up now." Todoroki's icy glare cut across the skyline. "We need precision. Any misstep and the city could be completely destroyed. We can't afford mistakes." Uraraka hovered, floating debris ready to form barriers and launch pads. "Everyone, focus. Coordinate perfectly. We have to protect civilians first, then strike." Aida zipped along the streets at top speed, scanning for any residual energy signatures. Analysis. New drones and adaptive chaos constructs emerging. They're evolving faster than before. Reaction time is critical. Sonic's grin widened faintly, golden aura shimmering. "Then we make sure we stay faster. Let's go." From the shadows, drones infused with chaos energy surged into the streets, moving with synchronized precision. Sparks of green energy crackled across the skyline as adaptive systems began and forming defensive patterns. Eggman's amplified voice rang out. You've survived Phase 4, but Phase 5 is the true evolution. Let's see if you can handle perfection. All for One's voice followed, calm and commanding. Observe carefully. Every movement will feed the system. Your reactions are being studied, analyzed, and anticipated. The ultimate challenge awaits. Sonic's eyes narrowed. Ultimate challenge. Perfect. Let's test them. He shot forward in a streak of golden light, faster than any human eye could follow. Drones attempted interception, but Supersonic's kinetic aura deflected their attacks effortlessly. Sparks and energy arcs erupted harmlessly as he ricocheted off Todoroki's ice ramps, Bakugo's explosive blasts, and Uraraka's debris platforms, striking multiple weak points on the adapters simultaneously. Bakugo's explosions detonated in perfect timing with Sonic's strikes, sending drones into collision courses with each other. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps amplified trajectory, allowing Supersonic to attack multiple points at once. Uraraka redirected debris to control kinetic paths, and Ida zipped at top speed to intercept any energy surges or reinforcements. The city shook violently as the chaos energy surged, adaptive armor flexing and twisting in response to every strike. Sparks and green arcs flared across the skyline, illuminating the destroyed buildings and streets like a storm of light and energy. Midoriya's voice came through comms, his excitement barely contained. Sonic. He's moving faster than the AI can compensate, but we have to keep supporting him. The central node is still active. If we don't destroy it, Phase 5 could stabilize again. Sonic smirked faintly, golden aura flaring. Then let's finish this before they even have a chance to react. He darted between drones and debris, striking multiple core nodes embedded in the central chaos construct. Sparks erupted with each impact. The adaptive armor convulsed violently, attempting to reinforce itself, but supersonic speed and precision made every adjustment too slow. Eggman's voice cracked with frustration. Impossible! Every system is failing. How is he faster than my ultimate evolution? All for One's calm demeanor remained, though subtle tension appeared in his posture. He is exceeding all expectations. Prepare tertiary protocol. Maximum adaptation. Sonic's green eyes narrowed. Maximum adaptation, huh? Then we'll have to exceed maximum speed. He crouched, golden quills bristling, kinetic energy building to its absolute limit. Then in a blinding streak of light, he launched at the central core, striking with explosive precision. Sparks, debris, and green energy arcs erupted in every direction. The adaptive armor convulsed violently, unable to compensate for the magnitude of the assault. Bakugo detonated a perfectly timed explosion, amplifying Sonic's kinetic impact. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps redirected energy, optimizing trajectory. Uraraka manipulated debris to redirect residual chaos energy harmlessly. Ida intercepted drones and energy surges at maximum speed, clearing a path for the ultimate strike. Sonic's golden aura flared brighter, kinetic energy radiating outward like a storm. He struck the remaining core nodes simultaneously, sending shockwaves through the structure. The central chaos construct convulsed violently. Sparks, fragments, and energy arcs flew in every direction. Eggman's voice screamed, panicked and desperate. No! My ultimate evolution! Failing! How is this happening? All for One's calm voice persisted, though tension was unmistakable. Containment. Impossible. The variable exceeds all parameters. Sonic hovered above the central node, quills shimmering gold, aura blazing. Phase 5 neutralized. Chaos evolution stopped for now. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Ida regrouped, exhaustion and exhilaration visible in their faces. We did it, Midoriya said, still panting. They're gone. At least for now. Sonic smirked faintly. Fastest hero wins again. But remember, they'll adapt, they'll plan. Next time we need to be faster, smarter, and even more coordinated. The city's skyline flickered with residual green energy, harmlessly dissipating. Musutafu stood battered but alive, a testament to speed, strategy, and determination. Musutafu's skyline was a chaotic mixture of rubble, sparks, and faint green energy streaks. Supersonic hovered above the ruins, golden quills bristling, aura radiating pure kinetic power. The central tower had been neutralized, yet Eggman and All for One were still in play. Lurking, calculating, and preparing their next desperate assault. Sonic crouched, eyes scanning the city. They're adapting, faster than before. Phase 5 isn't finished. We need to be ready for anything. Midoriya, chest heaving with exertion, stood nearby. We've slowed them, but they're evolving in real time. Every second counts. Bakugo cracked his knuckles, smirking. Good. Let's see how they handle speed, skill, and brains combined. Todoroki's icy glare remained steady. We need maximum precision. Any misstep now, and the city will be destroyed. Uraraka floated above the streets, manipulating debris to shield civilians. Everyone, maintain coordination. Protect the city first, strike second. We have to be flawless. Ida zipped along rooftops and streets at top speed, scanning for energy surges. New drones detected, reinforced with residual chaos energy. Adaptation rate has increased by at least 30%. Reaction time critical. Sonic's grin widened, golden aura flaring. Then let's make them regret underestimating the fastest hero. From the shadows, waves of chaos-infused drones surged. Sparks of green energy lanced through the ruins as Eggman's amplified voice boomed. You think Phase 4 was bad? Phase 5 is perfection. You won't survive this. All for One's calm, measured voice followed. Every movement, every strike will feed our system. They will analyze, learn, and evolve. This is the ultimate challenge. Sonic's emerald eyes narrowed. Ultimate challenge. Fine, let's test it. He shot forward in a streak of gold, faster than the eye could follow. Sparks collided with his aura, drones attempted interception, and energy arcs flared. But Supersonic was everywhere at once. He ricocheted off Todoroki's ice ramps, Bakugo's explosions, and Uraraka's debris platforms, striking multiple nodes simultaneously. Bakugo's explosives detonated in perfect timing, scattering drones and amplifying Sonic's strikes. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps redirected kinetic momentum, allowing attacks from multiple angles. Uraraka's debris provided aerial launch pads, and Aida intercepted drones and energy arcs at incredible speeds. The city quaked as the adaptive armor tried to compensate for Supersonic's assault. Sparks and green energy arcs illuminated shattered streets and damaged buildings. Each strike shredded panels, destabilized nodes, and caused energy surges to backfire into the remaining construct. Midoriya's voice cut through the comms, urgent and precise. Sonic, maintain synchronization. Bakugo, Todoroki, keep supporting. Uraraka, shield civilians. Ida, intercept all incoming reinforcements. The heroes moved as one. Sonic darted between drones, ricocheting off debris and energy arcs, striking the core nodes embedded within the construct. Sparks erupted with each hit, and adaptive systems quivered, unable to recalibrate fast enough. Eggman's voice became frantic. No! Every system is failing. How can he move faster than my ultimate evolution? All for One's calm tone persisted, though a subtle tension appeared. He exceeds all calculated parameters. Initiate tertiary and quaternary protocols. Prepare ultimate countermeasure. Sonic's grin widened. Ultimate countermeasure. Fine. Let's see if it's faster than me. He crouched, golden quills bristling, kinetic energy building to near its absolute limit. Then with a blinding burst, he launched at the central core, striking multiple nodes simultaneously. Sparks, debris, and green arcs erupted in every direction. Adaptive armor twisted violently, unable to withstand the magnitude of his attack. Bakugo detonated a perfectly timed explosion to amplify kinetic output. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps optimized trajectory and strike efficiency. Uraraka redirected residual energy and debris with precision. Ida intercepted reinforcements, clearing paths for the ultimate strike. The central construct convulsed under the assault. Sparks and energy arcs exploded as supersonic's aura collided with chaos energy, destabilizing nodes faster than they could adapt. Eggman screamed into his communicator. "No! My ultimate evolution failing! How is he this fast?" All for One's calm expression betrayed a hint of tension. Containment. Impossible. The variable exceeds all parameters. Sonic hovered above the central node, golden aura flaring, quills shimmering. Phase 5, neutralized. Chaos evolution, stopped, for now. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Ida regrouped, exhaustion and exhilaration visible across their faces. "We did it," Midoriya said, voice trembling. "They're gone, at least for now." Sonic smirked, golden aura flickering. Fastest hero wins again, but remember, they'll adapt, they'll plan. Next time, we need to be faster, smarter, and more coordinated. Musutafu's skyline flickered with residual green energy, harmlessly dispersing. The city lay battered but alive, a testament to speed, strategy, and teamwork. The ruins of Musutafu glimmered under the night sky, faint traces of green chaos energy pulsing like dying embers. The city had survived Phase 5, but the remnants of Eggman and All for One's plan still lingered, threatening to escalate if left unchecked. Supersonic hovered above the fractured skyline, golden quills bristling and kinetic aura blazing brighter than ever, the ultimate symbol of speed and determination. Sonic's emerald eyes scanned every street, every rooftop, every shadow. They're desperate now. And desperate is dangerous, he muttered, voice low and determined. But they won't win, not this time. Midoriya, panting from exertion but resolute, looked up at him. "Sonic, this is it. We can't give them another chance. If they regain momentum, Phase 6, or worse, could be catastrophic." Bakugo cracked his knuckles, grinning fiercely. "Ha, then let's end it. Time to show them what happens when speed meets skill. And me." Todoroki's icy glare swept across the battlefield. "We need precision. Any lapse now, and the city will be destroyed. Focus is everything." Uraraka floated above the streets, debris ready for shielding civilians and redirecting energy. "Everyone, keep perfect coordination. Protect the people, then strike. Every move counts." Ida zipped along streets and rooftops at top speed, analyzing energy fluctuations. Adaptive energy levels rising rapidly. They are attempting a full-scale reinforcement. Immediate action required to prevent stabilization. Sonic's grin widened, golden aura intensifying. "Then let's make sure stabilization never happens. Maximum speed, maximum power, no holding back." From the shadows, the final wave of chaos drones emerged, reinforced with the remnants of Phase 5 energy. Sparks of green light lit the streets as Eggman's amplified voice boomed. "This ends now, Sonic. Phase 5 may have failed, but Phase 6 is perfection. You'll regret every second." All for One's calm, chilling voice followed. "Every movement you make is now being analyzed in real time. The final protocol is adaptive and lethal. Observe variable. Ultimate evolution awaits." Sonic's eyes narrowed, determination blazing. "Ultimate evolution, perfect. Let's see if it can keep up with me." He shot forward, golden form blurring across the battlefield. Sparks collided with his aura. Drones attempted interception, but Supersonic was everywhere at once. He ricocheted off Todoroki's ice ramps, Bakugo's explosive blasts, and Uraraka's debris platforms, striking multiple nodes simultaneously. Bakugo's explosions detonated in perfect timing, sending drones colliding into one another. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps amplified momentum, allowing Sonic to attack multiple angles simultaneously. Uraraka's debris platforms redirected energy surges, while Ida intercepted reinforcements at maximum speed. The city shook violently as adaptive armor struggled to compensate. Sparks and green arcs lit the ruined streets, each strike shredding panels, destabilizing nodes, and backfiring energy surges into remaining constructs. Midoriya's voice cut through comms. "Sonic, maintain synchronization! Bakugo, Todoroki! Support him! Uraraka, shield civilians! Ida, intercept all energy attacks!" Sonic darted between drones and debris, striking the central core nodes embedded within the constructs. Sparks erupted with each impact. Adaptive armor twisted violently, unable to withstand the magnitude of Supersonic's attack. Eggman's voice cracked with desperation. "No! My ultimate evolution destroyed! How is he this fast?" All for One's calm expression remained, though tension was visible. Containment. Impossible. The variable exceeds all parameters. Initiate ultimate countermeasure. Sonic's grin widened. Ultimate countermeasure. Fine. Let's see if it's faster than me. He crouched, golden quills bristling, kinetic energy building to its absolute limit. Then, with a burst of blinding light, he launched at the central node, striking multiple points simultaneously. Sparks, debris, and green energy arcs exploded outward. Adaptive systems convulsed violently, failing to respond to the assault. Bakugo detonated perfectly timed explosives to amplify impact. Todoroki's ice and fire ramps optimized strike trajectory. Uraraka redirected residual energy harmlessly. Ida intercepted drones and energy surges, clearing paths for the final strike. The central construct convulsed violently, sparks flying, panels cracking, energy arcs exploding, Supersonic's aura expanded, kinetic energy radiating outward like a storm. Eggman screamed in panic. "No! My ultimate evolution! Failing! How can he move this fast?" All for One's calm tone trembled subtly. Containment. Impossible. The variable surpasses all parameters. Endgame. Failure. Sonic hovered above the collapsing node, golden aura blazing, quills shimmering. Phase 5 neutralized. Chaos evolution stopped for now. Midoriya, Bakugo, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Aida regrouped, exhaustion and exhilaration on their faces. "We did it," Midoriya said. "They're gone. Finally." Sonic's grin faded to a determined smirk. Fastest hero wins again, but remember, they'll adapt, they'll plan. Next time, we need to be faster, smarter, and more coordinated. The skyline flickered with residual green energy, dispersing harmlessly. Musutafu stood battered but alive, a testament to speed, teamwork, and determination. Supersonic hovered briefly, golden aura illuminating the city below. A beacon of hope, speed, and unstoppable power. Eggman and All for One retreated into the shadows, already calculating their next move. Yet one fact remained. Hero Society, backed by the fastest hero in the multiverse, had triumphed. Sonic glanced at Class 1A, eyes sharp but approving. "You've got spirit. Remember this, speed alone doesn't win battles. Strategy, teamwork, and heart, that's what makes a hero unstoppable." Midoriya's green eyes burned with resolve. "We'll remember, and we'll be ready next time." As the golden streak of Supersonic faded into the night, Musutafu settled into quiet tension. Battered, scarred, yet alive. The symbol of evil had been confronted, the chaos suppressed, and the fastest hero had proven why speed, skill, and courage were unmatched. The city stood resilient. Hero society had survived, and supersonic, the ultimate blur of hope and power, would always be ready for the next evolution.